Hello, everybody! I'm Mesa.
And I'm LJ.
And streaming to you from a golden beach, this is Knack and Jay. Hello, everybody! How's it going? How's everybody doing?
It is going.
It's a nice average Sunday. The birds are chirping. You know, the sun is shining. You know, nothing interesting at all is happening.
No.
And nothing at all. And we're here to talk another mundane set of affairs. This week we're here to talk about Hero Factory.
Yeah.
And why it is actually the best theme ever made. I'll start. So Mark Surge's character arc.
he had a character arc?
He did! He was overcoming his fears about being made a defective hero because he had a self-conscious issue that he didn't want to be evil.
Well, that really
It's
worked
very
out.
ironic because at one point he became evil.
Yeah, he's kind of the Liwa of the heroes. But, like,
You're
definitely not as cool because, you know, he's not Liwa.
Oh my god. No, don't worry. I'm speaking in jest, obviously. We are not talking about Hero Factory today. We have nothing to say about Hero Factory other than I love it. No, today we have big news regarding Ninjago. No, I'm kidding. No. This is obviously about the Bionicle gift with purchase. There's no sense in beating around the bush. There's no preamble. There's no crazy thing to really do here. This episode is purely going to be about the recently revealed Bionicle gift with purchase. We are going to talk about our thoughts on it, the history behind it in the community, how it got revealed, the process leading up to its reveal, and then we're going to talk about the totally calm, totally not incendiary at all topic of the community's reception to it, and then finish it off with some, you know, snazzy Q&A as we do. So it's gonna be a fun time. This is the first tangible new official Bionicle content in how many years? 7 almost.
Yeah, like actual proper
6.5.
Bionicle news is first since 2016. Well, I mean, unless you're counting the Canon contests, you know, which are actual tangible things.
I guess that's true. I was thinking more like Lego released stuff. It would be 2016. But you're right. The Canon contests do count. But yeah, it's very exciting. We have a lot to say. But first, before we get too far into that, Elj, would you mind hitting us with the epic plugs?
Not at all. So first of all, thank you all so very much for watching. If you're interested in continuing this conversation, head on over to the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. You need to be 13 years or older and follow the rules, and you should have a good time. Further, if you're interested in supporting this channel, we do appreciate any monetary support over on our Patreon. For as low as $1 a month, you can join our Patreon Discord server and join the live studio recordings and talk with us and listen to the shenanigans that happen, including some after shows. Currently, you can also be a part of our Minecraft server, which is on the island of Matanui. However, we can't guarantee it's going to be for terribly much longer. We're still kind of reevaluating things at this time.
It will probably get canned soon, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, it does exist if you want to take part of it.
Additionally, we do appreciate super chats. All of this does go to help fund the channel and fund video creation, of which we have been doing a lot of recently. Good examples of crowdfunding or fan funding would be the Bionicle Nestle promo video that I just released about a week ago. So definitely go check that out. And of course, if you haven't seen it and you want to, go check out the review of the set we're going to be talking about today. I also released that 5 days ago. Other than that, I think that kind of covers it. Make sure to follow us over on Twitter at the TTV channel, at Mesonac, and at the LJ Johnson. That's JOHNSEN.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
As Dakota points out, well, 90 years of play Tahu was a thing too, and a bunch of stickers. So fair enough. that's a good point, and that's worthwhile to consider. Not as much discussion value coming from that, but I get your point. I have been proven wrong. I am ashamed.
Yeah, you should be.
Uh,
Shame.
so now we do
Shame.
have a super chat from Delrune Plays, who who sent $5. Says, well, a fine early midwinter, late midday, early Sunday evening to y'all.
Hat tip.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yeah, a fine early midwinter, late midday, early Sunday evening to you as well. All right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
this is crazy.
Dude, we have a lot to talk about. We have been waiting to talk about this for a long time.
Torture! It's been torture not talking about this.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we would have just done it.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, we were kind of at the forefront of these things because our philosophy, and we should probably talk a little bit about this first. Our philosophy on leaks and LEGO leaks has changed. And a lot of that is A, due to our age, and B, due to our involvement in, this is going to sound weird, but product releases from LEGO. It has changed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we back in the day, we would have just basically done whatever. The thing I did for fun was staying up every night obsessively while I was on with these guys, just hanging out or watching like anime or something. And I would just search, what's the set names that have been leaked for summer? Oh, well, if I search the number and I use like Google search tips and tricks, I can maybe find product listings on an obscure German shop site that if I cross-reference the number, the product number associated with it, I can then search that and then find another shop site that may have blurry confidential images, and then I can make a video on that and get views. Like, that was what I did just for fun. And that's basically gone now. We don't really do that at all anymore. At least not related to the channel. Because we get product releases directly from LEGO,
Yeah.
We have a relationship with LEGO. We're a member of the LEGO Ambassador Network. We greatly value the interactions we have, and after speaking to a bunch of people at LEGO, they're very anti-leak, and I understand why. Seeing something revealed through a blurry, crusty JPEG on Instagram might not convey the same feelings of the product as seeing actual finalized images. As much as we may like to see the concept stages of development, it's a different thing. So,
yeah, and I think that's very important to hone in on. Seeing a crusty JPEG of something really doesn't convey the quality of something, as we have seen here. So let's talk about that.
Would you like to tell the story since it was your tweet?
Sure. So our tale begins in the time before time, known as June of 2022. And I had made an innocent tweet talking about how TTV was going to be appearing at Brick Fair, Virginia 2022, which is always very exciting. And it's like, hey, everyone, we're going to be there. I think I'd made it with the TTV account, and I had retweeted it with my personal account, as I do. Someone on Twitter made a brand new account and sent me leaked images of this set. It was June 16th. And I mean, I figure we can mention the account name just because it's
public, so there's no sense not to.
Yeah, the account name is Blue Cow, which, if any of you have watched my review, spoiler alert, toward the end, I bring out a blue cow, and I'm like, thanks for the heads up, I guess, or I suppose.
Dude, that was so good. I loved that. That made me so happy.
Because we've been sitting on this for so long, and when we got the leak, obviously we're not going to say anything. We're not going to talk about it. But, yeah, so we got sent these images, and they were nowhere else on the internet. Like, just straight up, nowhere. No, he didn't post them anywhere else. He didn't blast it all over, like, Instagram or Reddit or what have you. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? They were just to the replies. of that Brick Fair announcement, and it befuddled us. So obviously, since they're these grainy, watermarked leaks, and leaks unlike what we've seen before, like they were elaborate. They had a lot of additional information, recommended release date, recommended retailer price, a whole slew of friggin' things. It was an information sheet for, I guess, realtors? Sorry, retailers?
Realtors?
Not realtors. Retailers? It was crazy. We thought we were getting just messed with. We thought it was a fake leak, and we were just trying, like someone was trying to bait us.
I deliberately thought it was personal. And I mean, like, that may be egotistical of me. I apologize if it is. It's not my intention. But, like, I was like, okay, well, let me go check Reddit. Let me go check Facebook. Let me go check Instagram, Twitter. Nothing. No one's talking about it. No, this wasn't posted anywhere. It's just in our replies. I was like, what does that mean? Does this mean that, like, this is a calculated bait by somebody who doesn't like us to, like, oh, well, if we can trick TTV into reporting on it, then we can make fun of them and we can damage their credibility and we can try to get them, like, kicked off the land or something. I was like, oh, if this was a fake leak, no, you could apply the logic either or. If it was a real leak, oh, well, why would they choose LJ's Brick Fair tweet to reply to? But likewise, you could be like, well, if it was a fake leak, why would they only reply to LJ? Why wouldn't they try to spread it on other social media to trick people? You know? So I was like, I wasn't sure, but I was conspiracy theorizing hard. And I was just like doing 5D chess, trying to like figure out why this was done in this way and whether the story about it being a gift with purchase made it more or less believable.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't unreasonable, in my opinion, to believe that we were just being messed with, because this is just off of the heels of the Canon contests being ended and us kind of dealing with the fallout of that after having after having dealt with a bunch of other Lego or like Bionicle groups messing with us and giving us a hard time. So I don't think that was necessarily unreasonable to think, just because we had been dealing with it for so long. And this isn't the first time that people have tried to like fool people with fake leaks, you know?
Yeah. And there's also the element that, like, I mean, because the set has no new pieces, you know, it could very easily just have been mocked up by somebody on like Studio, you know, that they just print out a sheet and then like edit a few things here or there. I know we were thinking very, very much, at least I was, that like it was somebody who was trying to make a fake leak based off like Toa of Plastic's MOCs, because community member Toa of Plastic has made a lot of like Lego Ideas projects, specifically one of Liwa versus Onua. And we were like, this looks an awful lot like that. It's almost like someone took a common design for a system-based Toa, made their own, and then just like tweaked the photo a little bit. And we were like, it's entirely possible. It could have been fake. But then on the other hand, we were like, it is a well-done fake. You know, the identifying information, the sheet, the details, the gift with purchase scenario. If people were just trying to fake something, they would have just been like, oh, Bionicle's back.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So we went up and down. But obviously it ended up being real.
Yeah. So yeah, it was something else. And there was that brief period of, what's going on? But I was convinced. I was basically sure it was fake right up until... I mean, I had doubts until I opened the box that Lego sent us and saw, oh my goodness, it's actually here. And I was holding it in my hand. So...
VAR in the chat says it's Saturday, not Sunday, you dorks. What was?
Because earlier someone was like, "Happy Sunday."
I see. I was like, did we announce it for Sunday and we just got the day wrong?
No, we're all good.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Mhm.
So we just kind of ignored it because, well, if it was real, we weren't going to report on it, and if it was fake, we also obviously shouldn't report on it. So we were just kind of biding our time, basically.
Mhm.
And we heard nothing. Again, we were just like, oh, no one's reporting on this. And then a few months later, popular community leakers on Instagram and such started to report
wasn't even
on
a few months either. It was a few weeks, because those leaks, those credible leakers started leaking that a Bionicle gift with purchase was going to be coming out while we were traveling to Virginia.
It's true, I guess. So
it was late July, early August.
Oh, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
We got another super chat from Perry, who says, "Thank you for the late review, J of L,"
Oh,
and
yes.
$20.
Thank you, thank you.
The Nestle reviews, which were very good.
Thank you for helping make that happen. Because again, those were from Sakota, and they were on loan to me from Sakota. I got to send them back, but that helped make that possible. So thank you for your contribution. We really do appreciate it.
It was an exceptionally good video. Like, I learned stuff I didn't even know from watching that video. Like, I had no clue that the models were based on the Anika prototypes.
Yep.
But they obviously were. No, obviously.
That's thanks to Sakota. He absolutely went above and beyond investigating the history of those models. It was fascinating to learn about. I learned a lot myself.
There you go. So, first, another super chat from Delrun Plays. $5. Oh, wait, it is Saturday. Sweet. An extra day of weekend, then. You're so right. And also, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys a lot. So, when the set started being leaked by more quote-unquote credible established sources, there was some discrepancy with the set number, because there was another gift with purchase coming out, and it was Lego Blacktron. And the thing with the Blacktron gift with purchase is that it was being attributed the set number of, I think it was 40580. Yes, 40580. Wait, are we getting it reversed?
Sorry, my bad. So, when the additional leaks came out, they said that the Blacktron Cruiser was going to be a gift with purchase, and that was set number 40581, and that a Bionicle Tahu gift with purchase was going to be 40580.
That's right. Okay. So, at that point, we were like, well, on the one hand, the leakers, they're saying Tahu's coming. On the other hand, the initial document we saw said 40581. So we were like, well, what is it? What does this mean in terms of the original leak's credibility? Could we be getting a Tahu, but it may not be what the initial leak was? What are the odds of that happening realistically? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We were basically going, up and down again. But at that point, we just kind of had to keep biding our time because there was no other details. Then we were contacted. LJ was sent a message that we were receiving a set for review. And it did not say what it was. It just said Lego 40581. That was it.
Yep.
So we were like, okay, well, it's either what the initial leak said, or it's what the current leaks are saying. And we were thinking, what are the odds that Lego makes a Bionicle set? We are part of the Lego Ambassador Network, and we don't get sent the Bionicle set. And looking back on it, there was no reason to assume that. It would have made no sense at all. But because we were uncertain, we were starting to get a little antsy about it. Me in particular, I remember being like, if we have done this for so many years and we've done Bionicle content and we're in the land and we've extolled how much we love Bionicle, Bionicle is the core of our content. Like, I don't like feeling entitled to things because we're really not entitled to anything. We're just fans like anyone else. It's just like if that set of circumstances did not get us sent the Bionicle set, if Lego actually made one, then what would realistically?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
We're like, well, not that Blacktron wouldn't have been cool, but it just wouldn't have made sense for our content.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason we were so anxious is because the leakers that said it was 40580 are notorious and credible, which, if any of them are listening, I guess you ain't anymore.
I mean, they still correctly leaked what was coming. It's just there may have been a discrepancy.
I mean, that's a pretty big discrepancy.
They got the important part,
but
right?
I mean, it definitely threw us because we still had our doubts about the original leak we were sent in June. Excuse me. So it was like, yeah, we were nervous because the other reason that we weren't totally sure what we were getting sent is because there was a delay between the Blacktron gift with purchase and the Tahu gift with purchase. As of the recording of this video, the Tahu gift with purchase still isn't available for acquisition to the public. And the actual acquisition dates also haven't been announced yet. Like, technically,
we're reasonably sure it's the 27th.
Technically speaking, we've announced when it's gonna be, but we'll be honest, we're guessing. We don't actually know, but we believe that it's the 27th through February 9th because of a Lego calendar leak that shows the Tahu.
Yeah, but it's also bizarre because there is uncertainty, and admittedly, okay, first of all, because this is relevant, Sim Savas asks in the YouTube chat, do we know if this is going to be its own set and not only gift with purchase? Unfortunately, it's only gift with purchase.
Yeah.
It will not be sold by itself. It's a gift with purchase through Lego stores or Lego.com. How you get it, we don't know exactly, and this is kind of frustrating. I don't really know why. The release / reveal of this was messed up.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, I think.
Should we?
I mean, do we have anything else leak related to discuss?
Not particularly. I don't, unless you do.
No, I mean, the only other thing I was going to say was really just taking a moment to thank LEGO because our fears were completely unfounded, and LEGO has been so remarkably great during this whole process. Like, from top to bottom, everyone involved in sending the gift with purchase and helping us out with it have been just wonderful. Like, we have generally had a really good time in the LEGO Ambassador Network, but this has, in my eyes, been the highlight. This has been the peak. The folks over there, they have done really well by us, and we really appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Easily. I completely agree. Obviously, like, if you follow me on Twitter, it's no secret. I have one too. They sent us a few extra for our community, and that's immensely kind of them to do. They did not have to do that. It was just done. Like, I don't have to review it or anything, but they did it, and I completely appreciate it. It's very, 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 very kind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to clarify that, because what I would like you guys to do, if you haven't done so already, I imagine most of you who are listening to this have, I would recommend go watch our unboxing video. It's like really, really, really fun. It's a fun video of just like the pure unadulterated happiness radiating off of us both. It's straight up the happiest I've seen LJ in like years. Not in terms of just like being happy with life, but just like an expression of like joy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that often. You don't get that a lot nowadays, especially because we're adults and we're doing our thing. We're going through life, working jobs. We're doing like the doldrums of daily life, and it was a bit of a teleport back to simpler times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was very nice. It was a fun time and a fun little video, so go watch that if you haven't. But what I was referring to when I said that the reveal was kind of botched is I'm still not entirely sure why. Lego said it was good to reveal it on a certain day. But then the day went by, there was no press release. There was no anything.
So, yeah, we were told that the actual reveal day was going to be the 14th. It was going to be 1 week ago from today. And we've been talking with other people, like Duckbricks, for instance. He had the same information. And so we were talking with him on the 14th, and it was like, hey, did you hear the same thing we did? Like, it's revealing today, right? And he's like, yes.
Why is there no info? Where's the info?
He was told that just wait to reveal it, wait to do the videos until all the information updates on the Lego shop at home. It's like, okay, perfect. Totally understandable. It's the last day of the Black Charon gift with purchase. We can do that. And the 14th came and it went. And ultimately, this is... If we were Star Wars fans, we would be making full videos about this and, like, flipping out and, you know, as usual. But it really was just an unfortunate miscommunication where two different teams just didn't understand when things were going to happen. There was information from one team given to the other. Like, hey, pass this along. This is going to be the reveal. But plans changed, and there just wasn't an update, and it was really just as simple as that, you know? It was just an unfortunate miscommunication. It really didn't do anything.
Yeah. The issue, I think, mainly comes to the fact that, like, the initial delay was kind of confusing, but past that, like Toa Plastic says in our patron chat, official images didn't come out until, like, yesterday, which is weird. And despite the official images coming out, the reveal, the launch date, and the price threshold, to my knowledge, still have not been officially announced. I see sites like Brickset that are reporting, you know, it'll be available with Lego.com purchases exceeding €90, $100, or
which
like
is what we were
£100,
told,
I think, from January 27th. But, like, where is that sourced from in writing?
So there is a source for that. We were told, so we were given specific parameters pertaining to the details of this launch. The threshold, we were told, was $100, €90. We were also told no theme restrictions. Now, notably, we here at TTV have been specifying that there are theme restrictions because... Sorry, thank you, Sakota. £90, not €90. €100, $100, £90. So, we got the theme restrictions from that same catalog leak, the same calendar, as the dates, the January 27th to February 9th. And at the time we made a lot of our videos, we felt more confidently going with that as opposed to what we had been told, just because what we were given had changed so much, and it clearly hadn't been updated. So we're, in all fairness, we're kind of hedging our bets. We're kind of taking a little bit of a gamble with when it actually is coming out and what the parameters actually are. So if that is wrong and there are no theme restrictions,
good.
You
this
know,
is an instance where I'm happy to be wrong.
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll eat crow on that one. But
we would rather hedge people's bets and have them prepare than say something wrong and then have to deliver bad news. You know what I mean? So that's basically the gist of it. If there are theme restrictions, the theme restrictions that were rumored / leaked, etc., were original themes. So it was, I think, Classic, Creator, City, Ninjago, Monkey Kid, Dots. And it's not a lot of themes.
Should be noted, that is specifically Creator 3-in-1. That isn't just Creator in general.
which is weird. And I'm very much hoping that's wrong because there's other stuff I would rather buy. So there you go. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Jed, well, two things. Jed in the patron chat asked, sorry if this is a dumb question since I'm not that familiar with GWPs, but do they usually also have a SRP listed on Lego.com? On the official store page, the set is listed at the price point of $16.99, but I don't know if that's normal practice. I believe it is.
It is. It is normal practice. We did see that with the Blacktron gift with purchase. I was actually going to bring that up. The recommended retailer price is $16.99, so $17, which did not expect that. Did not expect it to be so low.
It's really useful for future conversations about this subject.
That is a very abnormally low price, especially with modern Lego, considering that this set has 219 pieces. Like, I was expecting a straight up $20 set.
Me too. I agree.
But yeah, no, that is normal.
So that's really all we have to say. We're expecting the 27th. We're expecting $100. We don't know yet whether there are theme restrictions or not. We will see. But that's what we got for now. That's basically the story of what led to this point. Unless I've forgotten anything that's worth talking about.
Oh, boy. Well, I guess other than the fact that we were technically the first group to officially reveal it.
That's true.
I'm gonna call out BSO1 here for their grievous inaccuracy on their set page about this. I'm gonna call out Doric again, specifically, because it's his fault. Nice. They have listed on their page that the set was first officially confirmed on January 16th, 2023 in an interview with the set designers, and a link to BZ Power's write-up of the roundtable we did. I want to talk about BZ Power's roundtable discussion and their involvement. BZP have been great. They're great. Their roundtable, the write-up they had, wonderful. Highly recommend it, and I'm going to link that right now. You should definitely go and check this out. There we go. But, yeah, as far as the first official reveal, it was us.
There you go.
By about 30 minutes on Twitter. So...
it's pretty fun.
And, I mean, if you want to get more technical, you know, we were the first place it was posted to. So, and that was because... again, that's thanks to Lego. We had reached out to Lego about the whether or not the embargo had changed for the reviews, and like, hey, it hasn't been revealed yet, or what do you want us to do? Has anything changed? And they were like, nope. All that we have says is the same. If you want, go ahead and reveal it. You're all good. So we got the green light for that, and. Yeah, so we revealed it, and we were first by about 30 minutes.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So, with that being said, would you like to move on to just our discussion on the set in general?
Yes.
This set is so cool. I love it so much. It's awesome. It makes me happy. It fills me with joy. Honestly, it's such a good feeling. I'm usually like much more reserved about things, or much more analytical, or more like, oh, this little detail here. And don't get me wrong, I can be analytical about this if I really try, but that's not the first reaction that jumps in my mind. I look at this and I have it on my freaking desk, and like, it just makes me smile, which I admit is my bias. I'm always going to be biased toward Bionicle. I would have that reaction basically to anything Bionicle, but I do think this was exceptionally well done, and I have arguments as to why. It's founded in logic, but also excitement.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is so freaking good. I am thrilled about this. I've got the photos of the box art up, the official renders of the box art, and just from the get-go, it's just immediately nostalgic. Like the packaging team did an amazing job working on this. And anyone else that was involved, it was definitely a cross-department effort from Bionicle fans that work at Lego. It's detailed in the BZ Power Roundtable, which I'm actually just going to go ahead and pin just for the time being.
Idea.
There we go. And it was just, oh my gosh, it just looks so good.
Bruh, so two things. Bionicle Punk. So, Meso, did you get your own Bionicle GWP or was it just LJ? I did get my own. Lego was kind enough to send us a few extras for our community, which they did not have to do. And one of them went to me by grace of Lego and also LJ, who,
Hello.
you know, you let me have one, which I greatly appreciate.
Of course, I wasn't going to not.
Secondarily, Makutros, Duckbricks accidentally showed it in a Sakota 20 years review on the 15th, though the video was only online for 15 minutes or so. I didn't know that. That's funny.
That is funny. And I know exactly why that happened, because we've been talking to Duckbricks, and we were all expecting the video to be up by a certain point, and he had shown us like he had a really cool catalog of videos coming out, and they were like, Duckbricks, just want to quickly shout him out. Duckbricks is so friggin' wonderful. Like, the guy is just absolutely great. He is so kind. He is so he's humble, and he makes some outstanding content. If you're not following Duckbricks, you definitely should be. He is at the forefront of some fantastic video creations.
I'm very happy that he exists in the modern era of the Lego community and also the Bionicle community by extension.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Yeah, I mean, it's very rarely have I been so like unabashedly happy about something. I can't even recall the last time, at least in terms of like a Lego set. Maybe Bowser.
Yeah, you were pretty excited about Bowser.
I liked Bowser a lot, so that was probably pretty close, but this is far better. Leo in the patron chat, I want to walk in his basement. I want to walk backwards through his basement. So let's talk about why we like this set. Obviously, you've done a full review, and I would encourage people to go watch that. It's an exceptionally done review. I think it's your longest review ever.
I don't think so. If we're going by just straight up video length, I think maybe it's my longest Bionicle specific review. It's just slightly over half an hour, but my longest review was the 90 Years of Play review, which is 43 minutes.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel that our opinions on the set, I feel like we both love it, but I feel like what we take away from it is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something I'm excited to discuss with you in particular about, because we haven't really done so yet.
Nope.
For good reason. I've been saving it. But purely in terms of how the set is designed, I think it is almost perfect to what I would want. I do have some critiques, but they're very minor. And they're things that are unfortunately unavoidable. My critiques are things like the gray mixel joints. I do think they're unfortunate. I wish they didn't exist. I wish there was a way to make the mixel joints not in gray, or especially not in multiple contrasting shades of gray. I wish it could just be uniform, or black, or orange. That's basically like my biggest critique. It was said multiple times over the years, but specifically it was said in the BZ Power Roundtable interview that you can find the transcript of, they can't be recolored due to quality control issues.
And we had known that. The only reason we asked during the roundtable was really just to get another source so that we can let everyone that has been like watching reviews or watching stuff like this know actually official answer from Lego. They have looked into it. They have tried, but for quality control purposes, they just straight up can't. And after years roasting Lego for the line joints, I think I can accept that answer. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. We have patron Luke the Duke 424 says, and this is a fair critical take. Interesting how competitors have made mixel joints in all sorts of colors without any problems, and yet the designers still have to pretend like they can't be recolored.
Are you friggin' kidding me? Step off.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't use the word pretend, but it's a fair point. There are competitors that make mixel joints of that scale in a variety of different colors. Seemingly, they have no quality control issues. I would contest. I would be like, well, how do we know?
Yeah, I don't know that
because they don't
at all.
write. Just for, number one, I don't buy them, but number two, they may not manifest right away. There may be quality control issues later down the line where they use friction. Maybe it's to do with the parts material they use in Lego parts versus the competitors. Do they both use ABS? Do they both use the same type of ABS? Do they use the same molding practices? What about the shades of paint? Do they use different paint in Lego parts versus different types of paint for other competitors, maybe different materials, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different variables that may contribute to make that the case. I do believe it is like I'm predisposed to taking Lego at their word just because what am I going to do? Like say they're lying? I don't know. I'm not really going to do that without any evidence to back it up. But past that point, I would like to think, I mean, Lego doesn't have an issue recoloring parts in general. They recolored the regular old style socket piece ad nauseum. You know, they literally just did in the new wave of Ninjago sets. They recolored it in gold for no reason. They don't have to do that. They could have just made it black, but they just did it in gold just because they could. So I would like to believe if it was possible, they would, because it does affect the look of sets that use these pieces. And there has to be some reason. And I believe it when they say quality control.
Yeah.
But you're more than welcome not to. It's a personal thing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I know that they're actually trying. They're trying to figure out how these things could work. The mixel joints are a much different scale and interact with much different pieces than larger scale construction joints do. Additionally, they also plan for long-term stress and wear and tear. Now listen, they work at a gigantic scale. They make a lot of pieces, they make a lot of sets, they make a lot of stuff. Like, sometimes, yes, things fall through the cracks. Some pieces get mismolded. Some pieces don't meet that quality standard. People will tell you, time and time again, Lego customer service go out of their way to try and make it a positive experience and get you pieces quickly, so that you can have a good experience. But yeah, sometimes things fall through the cracks. It happens.
Yeah, but, I mean, to make a comparison point, Bionicle stars. For years, people said, lime joints are bad. Lime joints are bad. And they were bad. Don't get me wrong. They were bad. Quality control. But, like, the Bionicle stars were released. And I still don't know if this was just me or not. Every single one of them broke upon first disassembly.
Well, shoot.
I took them apart to mock, and when I put them back together, they cracked.
For me, it was worse than that. I opened my Bionicle Star's Gresh, and upon connecting his like right or left hand, it immediately broke. I had just opened the set.
Yeah. And those were released, in accordance with like quality control, like those were deemed acceptable. It's difficult to tell. It's difficult to tell what Lego's practices are. It's difficult to tell how long they test for. Things have also changed a lot in the last 13 years. I'm sure there is a reason. Otherwise, I'm sure they would do it. I'm sure it's not that they just don't want to do it. But admittedly, the reason is beyond me, being an average Joe. I just kind of have to go with the flow on it. But I only bring it up because even if I understand the reason, if I'm being fair, it is a con. I think it screws with the set's aesthetics a good bit. It's not the end of the world, but most of it is a good homage to O1 Tahu. The gray is not.
Yeah.
Past that, no. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's like, yeah. Also, these other brands, these offshoot brands, I'm not even sorry. They're not as high quality, and there's no getting around that. They just aren't. And I'm glad you're not having issues now. Don't tell us when you do.
Yeah, hopefully it does not manifest.
Yeah.
There's like two other things. I wish he had wrists, which is admittedly minor. O1 Tahu only had one. So it's not like it's that much worse. I don't really care about ankles. I think they're fine without ankles. I do wish he had wrists just so he could move the sword in different ways and position the hand in different ways, which O1 Tahu could do. And then my only other complaint is the hinge arms. I like them. They look weird from some poses, and eventually they are going to lose friction. It's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it won't be anytime soon, because I like my Tahu quite a bit. At least they're easily replaceable, but eventually that's going to happen. It's just a consequence of that piece being used in that way. But I get why they wouldn't have done just mixel joints for the arms too, because that would have changed the proportions, it would have changed the build, and it would have added more gray, and also it would have made it probably more expensive having to add another set of joints. So I get it. Those are my only three cons, and they're pretty minor. I love it. I love this set. I love its style of being an homage to O1 Tahu, perfectly like translating the look, the torso design, the hand, the mask. It made the transition pretty well. The color blocking, using the black pieces to create the appearance of the sockets on the shoulders, the ball on the torso, the gearbox-esque appearance with like the bar across the top part of the chest and the bar coming up from the back. Oh, suddenly Orange is in the chat. As someone who's thrown a Tahu stars out of my second story window, mine are mostly resilient. That's a good point. Just pop it in for a sec to say hi. Hi to you as well. Thank you for showing up. I can't wait to see GWP Tahu in Reviving Bionicle 87. Make it happen.
I feel like I need to get that one meme of like the two guys, the muscly dudes, like clasping hands. It's like me suddenly oranges not being done after we think we're done.
Dude, Oranges is a legend. If anybody hasn't seen his stuff, Bionicle or Halo, please go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Dude is very talented
100%.
and very funny. Private giggles. They should definitely recolor the mixel joints. If they break, it would be nostalgic and a very cool reference to 0710. I agree.
Yeah, that's funny.
You're so right.
We did get a super chat earlier from Del Run Plays, who donated $5 and said, LJ's nemesis, red and blue pins. Meso's nemesis, gray mixel joints.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call it my nemesis. Like, I don't hate it that much. It doesn't, like, ruin the set for me. It's just, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I wish it wasn't there. I wish it wasn't the case. but it doesn't like make me mad or anything. Granted, I think that was the case with you and red and blue pens as well.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't.
just like a
I didn't
flaw
actually
you
care about
acknowledge.
them. So, but say la vie. I had to keep mentioning them, so they're what's associated with me. It's funny.
The design of the hand with the two fingers, the feet, the waist articulation, the sword, the stand, the surfboard, the best part of the set. The best part of the set is Matoran Takua.
Oh my gosh.
I would die for this man. I made a tweet extolling my love for him, and it got over 400 likes. I want it known on the record that Takua is the best part of this set. Because you can argue, and I'm sure we will through this episode, we're going to talk about the community reception. We're going to talk about people's cons with Tahu. And I think, even if I may not agree with all of them, I think there's some things you could say. I think there's some perspectives you could have. I think you could be like, oh, this doesn't hold up as well as a Mata set. It makes some sacrifices here. It makes some sacrifices there. And I think we can have a discussion there. Takua is basically perfect. I can't even imagine how Takua could be done any better in trying to recreate the Matoran style. Maybe a way to actually throw the disc. Maybe not have the gray mixel joints on his legs. That's really it. He's just awesome. The Matoran are what got me into Bionicle. I admit I'm going to have a bias with them always, but by that same token, they also mean a lot to me. That style of Matoran is my favorite. It's the most nostalgic. So if this was done badly, I'd be the first person to criticize it. Trust me. But I just love it. It's Matoran evolved. It perfectly captures the look, but it has a metric ton more articulation compared to the Matoran, which were basically just statues.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I was reminded after my review came out that the Matoran, the original Matoran, technically have 2 points of articulation, but that's still 3 less than this one does.
Yeah, and even then, it's very minor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, they can move their feet left to right. Cool. This can do that, or up and down, or back, or all around, and independently. And this one has a head that can move all around, and the arms can go up and down. It's just good. I just love it. It's epic. I'm done. That's all I got, basically. I think this is excellent. The point where we diverge, LJ mentioned in his review, it was a very poetic ending, by the way.
Thanks. A lot of people really liked it. Apparently, a lot of people were kind of tearing up toward the end.
It resonated very well, and it had an emotional appeal. But it also explained very clearly and concisely why the set is so good and what its goals were. I think it's important to say that and to call that out. And you mentioned very, very much your thesis is basically, this is not the future of construction. Do not look at this as an evidence of a G3, or maybe we can get Bionicle back like this. You're look to what's out on the market right now. That's the future of construction. This is not the future. This is the past. This is honoring the past in the modern format. And it's catered very specifically towards that end, towards delivering a respectful homage. And I agree with that. I don't disagree with any of that. ... But I want this for the future of construction. I think this is the best approach that they have done. I feel that all of the others on the market have caveats. There's things about them I would change. For the bigger figures, I would change some of the proportions. I would change how the arms are built. They also use these hinges, and I think it works a lot less good for bigger figures. I would make less awkward heads. I would make shoulder armor that doesn't, hang off the arms and create some unnatural posing scenarios. For the smaller sets, I would change how the Marvel mechs do their limbs. I would change their tiny heads. I would definitely change the SCCBS pieces they're moving towards. Boy, do I have some thoughts on those now that I've bought the most recent Marvel mechs. And I love them all to varying degrees. I own them after all. I'm supporting the experiment. But like this, my caveats are very few. And they're things that can't really be changed, mostly, like with the joint colors. So this might not be evidence of anything. But boy, I wish it was. I would buy a whole line of figures that were built like this.
Yeah.
I love this so much.
I totally understand what you're getting at. I understand why you like this. To me, this still... It just goes to influence why I like the Marvel mechs so much. Because they do share a lot of similarities. And in a lot of ways, the Marvel mechs feel like a little more of... Honestly, so, okay, here's the funny thing. This Tahu is aimed at an 18-plus audience. So, adults. And specifically, it was mentioned, like, this is supposed to be aimed at adults. Bionicle fans, who are now older. Bionicle fans are, like, fans that were, like, a fan of Bionicle in 2001. They're in their late 20s, early 30s now. So, they're proper adults. And that being the case, this Tahu has like knee articulation, waist articulation, articulation in the elbows and the shoulders. These are all things that some of the original Marvel mechs have. Like up to Wolverine, for instance, that released, I think, last year. Like, if that's an adult Lego set, then we've been getting them for a while. Because the articulation in the Marvel mechs is really good. You have ankle articulation, knees, hips, waist, shoulder, elbow, hand. Like, it's extensive. And that's why I think that the mechs are a really good platform. They're a really good start for what construction in modern Lego's catalog could look like. Unfortunately, it seems like Lego is deviating from that now. They are trending over to the SCCBS. I think they're still experimenting. I think they're still exploring this system. It's so new, and its implementation is... I don't think it's been perfected yet. But that's why I'm just so emphatic about the mechs. Because they are current construction.
So... what I would say, I think Toa of Plastic is kind of hitting along my thought process. I don't think the 18 plus rating is necessarily based on building techniques. I think it's based on like demographic.
Sure, and I mean that's fair, but we've had,
like I said,
we've had
this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but like I keep seeing comments in the community that are like, how is this an 18 plus set? This could be built by a 5-year-old. And that's a common reoccurring trend.
My point is, well, yes, you're technically right. It is aimed at a specific age demographic. We have heard for years that a lot of mechs lack knee articulation because, you know, it's harder to understand how that functions, what children are supposed to do with that. And then it's also a stability issue. Like, we've heard numerous reasons as to why. And sometimes, yes, these sets don't include knee articulation because it's an age thing. And so, seeing this, this is what an 18-plus set is supposed to be. This is considered at least an adult build, you know? It's acceptable for adults. It was aimed at older builders.
I don't necessarily, like... I mean, this may be something that we can't answer concretely without just asking somebody from Lego, and I don't know if we would get an answer, but, like, I'm reasonably confident it's 18 plus because Bionicle fans are 18 plus, not because the build is necessarily 18 plus.
I'm not saying that the build is wildly complex or it features some, like, crazy design philosophy. Like, I'm not saying that this is equal to, like, a modular, you know? That's not my point. No. My point is that this isn't designed the same way as a shelf set is designed. And I think that's because they have allowances for older builders in mind.
I get you. I mean, I agree to a point. I think that that's definitely true simply by the amount of articulation it has. I just don't. I don't think that rockets it up to like 18 plus. I mean, even when we were sent the information that we were getting the set, and the name was hidden, it was Lego Nostalgia.
Yeah, I know. I know. And like I said, I know this isn't actually like a complex build. I've built it.
I get you.
I've reviewed it.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
My point being is 18 plus is it is the adult category for Lego sets. I'm not saying it's actually meant. I'm not saying that people under 18 plus can't build this, or that it wouldn't be considered 18 plus outside of the gift being a gift with purchase, being a Bionicle set. My point being is that certain allowances were made because it is aimed at older builders, and I feel like there is a distinction you're going to start seeing between that and shelf mechs, because shelf mechs are trending toward SCCBS.
Yeah. They basically completely switched
that's going to
over,
be on purpose.
True.
Like that's going to be a distinctual line that we're coming up on. And that was why I appreciated the Marvel mechs so much and their amount of articulation. Does that make sense? Is everyone understanding what I'm trying to say? Like, am I explaining that?
I think so.
In a comprehensive way.
I get what you're saying, and I think it's definitely true. Like, even if we factor out like the 18 plus, because we could get hung up on that little minutia, but like factually, you are right. I mean, I think that's even been explained on Twitter by Neek when he was doing his whole SCCBS breakdown, when he was saying that essentially like the pieces are locked because they're for like 5 plus, other stuff is for like 6 or 7 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So there are the different age categories. We know that like for a fact, and it does seem like mechs are trending in the 5 plus direction, because I guess metrics or market research have determined that that's the age group that most buys like those scale mechs. I guess I'm just like, I don't want that. Can we roll the clock back, please? Because I was very looking forward to seeing the Marvel mech formula get iterated on. I kept buying them. I never stopped. I have Wolverine, I have Black Panther. I wanted to support it. It's just there are some fundamental design problems that they have that I feel could be improved. This Tahu's proof of that. It's improved on a lot of them. And then I look at the actual Marvel mechs, which I also have bought, and I'm like, oh, so they're keeping the tiny heads and they're keeping the weird limbs, except now there's no posability. None is an exaggeration. There's very reduced posability and awkward proportions. I'm not as much of a fan of that, but of course that's my bias of being an older builder. If I was a kid, I might not care.
And I definitely think that the Marvel mechs, the way that they're trending now, I prefer the way that they have been. I have been evangelicalizing these Marvel mechs for a while, especially to Meso and Sakota. And true. I think the way that they are going, I definitely think I'm gonna be predictive. Okay. Is that a word?
Yes.
Yes. Nice. Sometimes I'll say words that I'm pretty sure are words because I feel like I've heard them, but then they aren't, but they sound nice. But anyway. So, I'm going to make a prediction. I think we're going to see the reintroduction of action features, set functions in these mechs at some point.
Ooh.
I don't know what they're going to look like. I just think it's a possibility because we are trending back to a simpler style of design for the mechs. And I feel like the trade-off for that simpler style, that lack of articulation, is going to be a fun action. I
Interesting.
don't have any reason to concretely believe that. I just have a hunch. I just have a
Dude,
feeling.
that would be so fascinating if we went in a loop.
So, we do need to get a couple of super chats out of the way. Evershadow, 5, 6, 7, donated $5. Said, "Bye, Meso and Eljay. Gotta go, but love you two so much. So glad you're enjoying yourselves with this set, and hope you enjoy working on new stuff later." Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've been really having a good time. This has been such a positive experience. Delrun Plays, another $5, says, "In case y'all finish before I get back to my PC, here's some cash for Meso's couch fund." Gosh dang it, Meso.
Dude, I really could use a new cat, honestly.
So, 50 SEK, which translates into just a little under $5 from Tarker's Channel of Random Things. Hot take: the gift with purchase box could have captured the Matoran art more faithfully, and you can fight me on this. However, first grab yourself a burger with this.
Joke's on you, Tarker. I can't get a gluten-free burger for whatever that equates to.
Little
I'm
under
mad
$5.
currency. Yeah, I wish I could get a burger with a little under $5, but thank you nonetheless. I have seen that that going around about the box art. I've seen a bunch of people talking about that, actually.
Oh, I haven't. I have not been seeing people say that. I'm not surprised Tarker's saying that, because it's such a nitpicky thing to say, and he was like ridiculously nitpicky during the Canon contests. So
True.
like, I'm not shocked. Thank you for the donation, but yeah, not.
I have seen a lot of people
talking
about the box. It is a thing. It's about the curvature of like the lines, basically. People are like, oh, well, the box, it has the lines, but they wrap around the box. Whereas if it was trying to mimic the canister more, it would basically make the shape of the canister on the box itself.
That is
and just have like extra space.
The silliest thing I've ever heard regarding this box. It's like in my opinion, the folks that are saying that, and you know what? I'll admit I might be wrong because I haven't seen it, and it's a little hard for me to visualize that right now. So I could be convinced by a mock-up, but the way that sounds in my mind, it sounds like the same philosophy that would get us like one of those original prints of the mask just on the brick. Like let me try and get an example of that real quick.
I get what, yeah. I
know what
while you're looking.
I know you know what I'm talking about, but
I know what you're talking about for real. I'm of two minds on it. I don't care, and I never once had a thought when I looked at the box that like it was lacking somehow. But I have seen a mock-up. It was posted on Mask Posting, and I'll see if I can find it. And I'll agree that objectively it could be better, but I don't think how it is now is bad either. I think it perfectly it looks how it's supposed to, you know. It reminds me of the canister. It's very faithful to the design of the box art, etc., etc.
I'll go ahead and just transition this over real quick just so people can see it. This is what I'm talking about. These two in the middle here. Like that's what I think of immediately. And it definitely doesn't look good, and I'm glad that they ironed that out when they were working on these. So,
for sure, I agree completely. And it is there is a thought process to it that's basically like, well, do you try to adapt something one-to-one, or do you try to like stylize it? And I get why they did the box how they did, because it works well for the shape of the square box.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I see points either way. I don't think it's insane, but I also just don't care.
Yeah, no, I think the box looks really good because it's definitely it's 100% an homage to the original box, the original canister design, while still being a modern Lego set. Like, I don't know if it made it into the video, but I did have, like, Liwamata's canister next to this box, and to me it still looks good. Like, it's not going to be a one-to-one, you know, but it's still a pretty solid homage. But it doesn't have to be one-to-one. I still get the same feeling holding this box that I do a canister. So.
True. I agree completely. I love the box. This is not what was being shown. I saw something else, but this is like just for our Patreon audience. Like, this is something somebody on the Mask Posting Facebook group made. This is kind of, it's extrapolating multiple things. It's trying to make it like an icons set, which, quite frankly, I don't think looks good, and I hate the formatting of it. But specifically, you can see kind of what they're talking about when they're like, oh, the shape should fit on the front of the box solely instead of wrapping around. Because when you fold it up, it kind of more looks like how the canister did.
Okay, I see what they're getting at now, and I don't like it.
Fair enough. Well, there you go.
This looks far less saturated than what we actually ended up getting. Like, there's a lot of color with what we have in the distribution of the actual box art itself. And this just, I appreciate this mock-up. And I'll try and I get it on screen.
Thank you. While you do that, I will read the other super chat, of which there were more. Other one was from Secret Kingdom, who sent $1.99 and says, "Do you think this set is a sign for Bionicle G3?" No, sadly, and we have been told as much basically directly by the designer in the round table.
Yeah, I think it's discussed in the round table, but make no mistake, this is very, very thoroughly a commemorative thank you to the Bionicle community, to the fan base, to the Bionicle theme. This is definitely not a sign of things to come.
Yep. Now, could it be in the future? Who knows? But you have to be honest about what's going on now. And you can't read like into things too much, or else you just disappoint yourself, basically.
Yeah. I hate this. We haven't gotten to the community reception yet, I know, but
What specifically?
We'll get to it in a moment.
Okay. Our patron chat.
Yeah.
All right. That was basically all I had to say about the set. Did you want to give your thoughts for context here, even though you did your review?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, I mean, definitely please check out the review. I'll go ahead and, I mean, it's on the channel, but I'll still go ahead and post a link to it here in the live YouTube chat. Please check it out. I did put a lot of work into it, and I think it turned out really well. People seem to be quite happy with it. They're very complimentary, and I really do appreciate that. I think the set is awesome. I think that it is an excellent Bionicle set specifically. I think the things that they included were just made so much sense to include those things, and I think that it's very representative of the things that made Bionicle so appealing to people. That we had Tahu for the action figure side of things, Takua from Monog representing the adventure of going throughout all these different areas in Bionicle, and then we had the Motunui and Makuta Stone representing the deeper lore, the story behind Bionicle. And that being the case, I just feel that this is a very good representation of the things that made Bionicle special. And I appreciate every aspect that is in this.
Well, there you go. Sakota asks, Meso, Eljay, do you maybe know this, potentially from the designer interview? Is it confirmed that this was a result of the LEGO Ideas 90th anniversary poll?
No, it was not confirmed. I don't recall if we asked, but no, there's no confirmation that this had anything to do with the 90th poll.
Realistically, I don't even know if the designers would know if it did. They could maybe only make the same inferences as any of us.
They were approached to work on this. This wasn't their pitch. So while this is definitely the cross section of opportunity meets preparedness. Like the folks that worked on this, who we should mention is Nick Voss and Nick van Slagmat. Nick is credited as the primary set designer. However, other set designers gave input, helped. George Galat, Nick, they definitely gave feedback. So it was a very collaborative effort, but I don't quite recall if James May worked on it at all. But in any case,
basically the Bionicle fan, set designer, Avengers, more or less.
As Nick put it on Twitter, the Bionicle fan, set designer, Suicide Squad, the Federation of Fear, rather.
There you go.
So
the Federation of Fear.
But yeah, so no, they were approached to work on this, and they were prepared for it, but there is no confirmation that this is a result of the 90th.
I would be very shocked if it wasn't. I think the timing too closely aligns. I'm pretty sure it is until I hear otherwise. That's the modus operandi I'm going to be operating under, but it's not confirmed, and it likely won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just think the timing makes too much sense in proximity, and I could very easily see the line of logic that would have led to its creation. Like, it won the poll, but all these other things would make better sets. We don't really sure a Bionicle set would sell, especially if we can't use the pieces, so we can make it a gift purchase, and that way everybody's happy. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yeah.
So we're both pretty happy with it. We love it to pieces. I didn't even talk about the Motunui stone, Makuta stone. It's so epic. I love it. I loved when you were showing the contents of the instruction booklet and stuff, and it just kept getting better progressively. The more we learned about it, the more homages and the more references, and it just kept getting better.
Yeah. So no, it's a lovely set. I really enjoy it. I appreciate it as a fan of Bionicle, the original Bionicle that I grew up with. I appreciate it as an adult, as something that I can display on a shelf, on a desk. I can take this to work and have it in front of me and just be like, hey, it's a cool little desk model. It's great. No, I'm a huge fan of it. I think this is a great set.
Tahu can actually do the pose.
I feel like I'm not
do the pose.
It's driving me crazy. I don't feel like enough people are talking about this. He can do the canister pose. The original Tahu cannot do that without modification. Because
so
the box art kind of lied a little bit. But
it makes me so happy. It infuriated me when I was younger, and I loved the Mata. I became a Bionicle fan from the Mata, but it made me annoyed because I wanted to do things with them, and they were very stiff. They're unwieldy. They're difficult to do things with.
Mm-hmm. But no, I'm a huge fan of this set. And I'm sure some of my bias is involved because I'm a fan of Bionicle. I have to admit that. But I really do enjoy it. And I mean, given that I have that bias, I think it would be very important that I enjoy it because they want Bionicle fans to like it. Which,
true,
I think is a really good way to segue into the community response.
Yeah. So, unsurprising, for Nak and Jay, me and LJ going to war against questionable takes in the Bionicle community. Not exactly new, but it's going to be the case no matter what. Here we are again. Although I will say, once the set actually was revealed and people did start to watch reviews and stuff, I did notice a large uptick in overall positive sentiment. which I appreciate. Before the reveal, when it was just the leaks, there was a lot of negativity, and there still is, but I'd say it's more balanced now. And that's nice to see, because like we kind of alluded to it earlier, we get it, we understand, and I want to preface anything we're about to say by saying it is okay to not like something. You do not have to like this. You don't have to be happy about this. You don't have to want to spend $100 to get it. We're not going to judge you and be like, well, are you a true Bionicle fan if you don't like put up or shut up with your money? Like, we're not about that. It is okay to have preferences. I have spoken to more than a few people who have just been like, this is cool, I like it, but it's not for me. I only like Technic.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay. I like Technic. I prefer Technic. If we could get the old parts back, I would get them back in a heartbeat. But that's simply not in the cards. So we're not trying to shame anyone for not liking something. But there's a lot of over-the-top, vitriolic replies to this that border on hyperbole, border on the insane, very detached from reality, and at best are just kind of questionable and are working with incorrect information. Basically, I'd say the one universal through line of these negative comments is basically rejecting it offhand because it's made of bricks, which is not a new conceit. We've been dealing with that for a long time in the realm of fan works, but this is the first time we've actually had an official something to test that theory. A large contingent of people in the community are simply put, they're like, this is trash. This is an insult to the legacy of Bionicle. They should have just used the old pieces. They could easily do it. Lego's made of money. They're rolling in money. Just bring back the Technic parts. Just bring back Tahu. This is a disgrace. The amount of look how they massacred my boy memes I've seen,
so
like comparing and contrasting the two.
So melodramatic.
Yeah.
I gotta say to that, to just bring back the original pieces. In fact, you know what? I got some great news for you. You right now can bring back the original pieces. And I'll go ahead and post this picture from my review that shows all of the Tahus. Check it out. You can bring back the original pieces right now by going on eBay and buying the original Tahu. What? No way. The original pieces are all there. Like, gee williker, if you want the original set, just go buy it.
Yep. That's more or less the crux of it. I think that there's two schools of thought to this. One is in terms of an homage. One is in terms of a revival of Bionicle. All right? So, on the one hand, if it's an homage and you just want the same set re-released, which some people may dismiss out of hand, and they may be like, people don't actually just want the old set re-released. They're just talking about the parts. No. You're wrong. There may be some people that are just talking about the parts. I know they exist. There are a lot of people that have just straight up been like, we just want Lego to sell the Mata again. Just sell them again. Just bring the sets back. Like Toa Plastic says, we need new versions of the pieces to be released to fix the aftermarket prices. And that's the approach they're coming at it with. That is absolute unbridled lunacy. It's detached from reality. That is not going to happen. That will never happen. And what a waste if it was to happen. Like, even if they did bring back the old building style, I wouldn't want them to just remake the same sets. I sure wouldn't buy that.
Well,
I already own them. Okay,
I'd have to buy it.
maybe to fix the joint. Okay, maybe I could bricklink, en masse the new joints for like, I don't know, $20 to get like 100, and then I can just, I can just throw my old ones in the trash. Maybe that would be nice. Dakota's like, Bionicle Dream has been really hard on some people. I had this conversation a few days ago. Is that really what the Bionicle Dream is? Because the term Bionicle Dream has been going around for years, and I've just been like, oh yeah, I've had the Bionicle Dream. Obviously I have. Everyone's had it. When I had a dream, it was new sets.
It differs.
When I had...
it's different from person to person, because I've had several Bionicle Dreams, and the predominant one that I have, and I see a lot of people saying this, is it's old sets that are just on shelves. So you get to relive the feeling of walking into a toy store and seeing all of your favorite sets on shelves.
Which is fine. I can't blame people's subconsciouses for that. And it is a nice thought. It's like reliving nostalgia, reliving being a kid again. I don't want to be too insulting to people. Like, that's a nice dream to have. That's never been what I've had personally, but also that's never what I would actually want. Like, if I could get the Technic parts back, and if we could get the G1 parts back, I would in a heartbeat. I love the building system. I would want them to do new things with it. I would want them to make a new version of Tahu. I would not want Tahu Mata. Maybe I'm just crazy. But that's basically what I would want. I think that would be a complete waste. And it's akin to the same line of thinking that we routinely mock when it comes to Faber's stuff, with people wanting him to just continue G1 and fix stuff about G1 and make a fully mocapped CG movie where Huki is brown, and it's like, oh, well, that's such a waste. Why not do something original? Zach Starbreaker in the chat. You misunderstand, Meso. They want the old sets re-released so they can be happy seeing them shelf warm, then be upset when it doesn't happen again after no one buys the sets they already have. Epic.
That's funny.
So yeah, I can't relate to that viewpoint.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I get the feeling. This to me harkens to a quote that I've heard about, I don't know, I don't even remember what it was pertaining to. I don't think it was Lego. I want to say maybe it was video games, perhaps, maybe movies, and it pertained to nostalgia. And the refrain was, you don't miss the game or the movie or the Lego set. You miss how you felt at that time.
Yeah.
You miss going back, being a kid when Bionicle was fresh and new and exciting, and everything was awesome, and you were young, and you didn't have adult responsibilities. You want to go back to simpler times. And I can respect that. I totally get it. I totally get it.
I get it.
But you know what? We gotta move on. It's like,
I wish that could be done, but it's a squandering of new opportunities to live in the past. Like, not everything. Sometimes new things can be bad, but not everything new is automatically bad. It could be a chance for some cool new approaches. Like, if they just re-released Tahu, he couldn't do the canister pose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So no, it's crazy to me. And I get it. I love the original Bionicle. I love the original pieces. I love the original aesthetic. All of those things are true. I think they're awesome. And I talked about this in my review. And that's why I totally understand if somebody looks at this and just doesn't get that same feeling. Because it is a different aesthetic. They are all new pieces to the Bionicle catalog. I understand. Original Bionicle was very unique. It was very cool. You know, my favorite Lego set of all time is an original Bionicle set. But it's done. But the cool thing is, those things aren't gone. Like, those things still exist. I still have the original Bionicle sets. Anytime I want, I can go into a box, find my original Iwamata, or I can find the Axelara, I can find Matau Hordika, for whatever reason I would do that for. I can find the Paraka Stronghold. I can find literally any Bionicle set. I just enjoy it. You know, I can look at it, I can handle it, I can be like, yeah, this is awesome. It didn't go anywhere. Like, these sets aren't gone. They're just not being released now. Like, you can still get them. These things didn't suddenly vanish from existence. And that's why I don't understand this refrain of, oh no, we want original Bionicle back. It's still around. It didn't go anywhere. It's just not progressing.
There is the concern about the parts degrading over time. And that's an interesting thing to explore, especially in relation to stuff like the aftermarket, the evolutions being made in 3D printing, you know, getting closer and closer to matching Lego parity. Just recently, people were talking about how inflated the cost of, like, Metru torsos is.
Oops.
Probably because of the Canon contest.
It's exactly because of the Canon contests.
It's, like, ridiculously expensive to get them now, which definitely sucks.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a bummer. I am sorry about that. I don't want people to have to bankrupt themselves just to build Metru builds. But, like, at the same time, I don't think that's not up to a single gift with purchase to solve. And even if Bionicle was being rebooted, the concern should never be, how can we make lives easier for the dedicated G1 legacy aftermarket community? That shouldn't even be a footnote of a footnote of a footnote in the mind of whoever would be conceptualizing a hypothetical Bionicle reboot. Because if you're concerning yourself with that, you're actively kneecapping your ability to do other things to help grow the revival of the new theme.
Yeah.
It's difficult, because I wish there was a way if they could bring back the old pieces. It's simply not viable. So I empathize to a point. I empathize being disappointed in it. Like, would my first choice be to have Tahu with a printed decal of his face on a smooth plate? Not particularly. That wouldn't be my first choice. It probably would have been my last choice. First would have been a mask. Second would have been a brick-built How. And then the third would have been printed on a plate. But I'm pretty happy with how they did it. I think it's cool how they did it. And I've warmed up to it a lot now that I actually have it. Because the other way, I mean, making a brick-built How wouldn't have worked for the scale or the budget. But bringing back the old Kanohi How wouldn't have worked for the scale of the model, and because the part doesn't exist anymore. And I think it's okay to be disappointed, but people are very angry about it, and people dismiss the set entirely out of hand just because it doesn't use the old pieces. And that's very reductive thinking to do that, to not even give it a chance, or to be, like, angry that it exists because it's spitting in the face of what you once had as a kid. It's not a good look.
No. It's not, and I feel like it really misses the point of what this is. And for anyone who is curious about what this model would look like with other heads, I did, in my review, take a moment to replace the head with some other options. I'll go ahead and link that tweet, because I posted the pictures to Twitter. And I put the original Tahu Mata head and mask on this. I put the googly Tahu head on it, and I put the mask from the Bionicle pens on it. And the one that they have fits the best, just straight up. But they're there for public consumption.
Dude, I love the googly eye Tahu. It's so funny. It's the funniest thing ever, and I love it to pieces.
Pieces. Yeah.
Ha
So, as far as the pieces are concerned, and Zach, finish the thing. Stop teasing it. Just finish it. Stop. We've been through this before.
I am.
Anyway, so I think that the thing that kills me is that a lot of people really, they want to go back and they want to enjoy what was. And I respect that. But we got to move along. No pun intended. We just have to move forward. Life is not stagnant, and just staying in one place, just being in one age isn't productive. It's not healthy. It's not a good thing to do. So I appreciate what Bionicle was. I enjoy it the most of anything. But I appreciate what Bionicle can be. And to me, that's what this gift with purchase speaks. It is something different. It's something new, because anything under the Bionicle line, the Bionicle name, interests me. Because Bionicle is always about doing something new and interesting and different. It's always about pushing the envelope further and going beyond what it just is. So
I agree completely. I think it's associated with experimentation, associated with like risk taking. You know, it's very good, and I feel like this does that. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't think, even if you don't like it, I don't think a lot of the anger that people express is warranted. I simply do not. I think you can appreciate it for what it is, or you can simply step away and be like, it's not for me. But props to those who do like it. Like, there was a tweet made by Bonkle Chaser, who is a prolific Bionicle community person on Twitter, posts a lot of Bionicle stuff, and they simply posted 2001 versus 2023, and the QRTs and the replies are an absolute minefield of toxicity, a cesspool of like negativity. If you just want to go for like a fun spiral down into the land of negativity, people are exceedingly angry. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. Now, I think there are some points you can be angry about. I think it's okay to be angry that you have to spend $100 to get it. I think that's entirely reasonable. I think you should direct your anger. You know, it's not the set designer's fault. They simply worked within the parameters to get it made. They had no control over that.
In fact, they did try and keep it as affordable as possible.
Could have been worse. Just look at Blacktron. That was 190.
Yeah, exactly. And the Blacktron set, how many pieces does that have? Trying to find that real quick. Almost got it.
That would be good to know.
I almost got it. All right, it had 356 pieces and 2 minifigures. One of which was, okay, it says 2 minifigures, but realistically it had 1 minifigure, and that had 2 new prints on it. So, 1 exclusive minifig, 356 pieces for, oh gosh, how much more than this?
Like $90, I believe.
Yeah, $90 more.
Yeah. So you just got to keep it in perspective about how much worse it could be, about how much more you could have had to pay And I think it's okay to be disappointed at that, but like, it could always be worse. And ultimately, if you really want it, try to make a way to make it work. But if you can't, if you just absolutely can't afford it, that does suck. I've been there. It is definitely a shame. Hopefully the aftermarket prices won't be too bad for it. Because I understand wanting it and then being like, well, I have to get sets I don't care about to get it. But you have to keep it in perspective. My issue that I see people doing is they're equating Lego as a collective. But there are different categories of people. The people who made this set and the people who tried to make this set a success are not the same people who are quote unquote blocking us from getting a full Bionicle reboot. Those are not the same groups. Management structure is not the same as product designers. And I see people just using Lego as this umbrella term to refer to anyone who actually works at the company. And I think that's more than a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
We have a super chat, another one from Delrin Plays. $5. Wow, I leave for however long and come back to a bunch of Tahus staring at me. They're just standing there, menacingly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again. There's a phenomenon that we noticed, and I think you were the first one to point it out to me. And it's Bionicle fans have become AFOLs.
Yes. So Bionicle fans have become what they hate because there was a cycle that happened. As we all know, Bionicle saved Lego. It saved the company. There isn't any other way of beating around that bush. It's even a quote by the man who turned the company around. One of the people that I can't remember his name. It's a higher up at Lego who helped turn things around financially, and he's like, Bionicle is the toy that saved the company. That's it. So, also, Ruby, I'm glad you hate that phrase. Keep hating it. It's true. It's just what it, and the reason why it keeps on getting stated again and again and again is because you have a significant contingent of Lego fans, adult fans of Lego, that hate Bionicle. They don't like Bionicle because it isn't system bricks. And that's really it. It doesn't look like Lego. It doesn't, to them, fit within the rest of the catalog. It's alien.
True.
And that's not something I agree with. I don't agree with it. I don't like that take. So, for a great deal of time, you had AFOLs shun Bionicle fans, speak poorly about it, try and push it out. And now, you have Bionicle fans pushing back, and when it isn't what they liked, they push against Lego as a whole and system.
Bionicle isn't Bionicle if it's system. It's the same thing, just mirrored.
And it's just so... yes, a Nudstorp. That's who I'm thinking of. Thank you, Makutras, from the YouTube live chat. So yeah, it's just really reductive. It doesn't help anything. And I'm really excited that we have an example of a Bionicle set in the greater Lego building system, because I think that this is a natural evolution for Bionicle. I think that this is a good look at seeing what Bionicle looks like as a more traditional Lego set, because to me it still feels very different. It still feels like a Bionicle set, because
it does not feel like anything that's on the market right now. This does not feel like an Ninjago mech. This doesn't feel like a Monkey Kid mech or a creator set. This has the right feelings, even if it lacks like greebles.
The only thing that would have made it better is if it had a gear function. I've been seeing some people include one. They've been working on adding a gear function into this Tahu, which is super, super clever.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Actually, I think the one I want to highlight is on Twitter. It's Corrodium, at Corrodium. And I'll go ahead and just link this tweet. This is the one that I saw, and I think it's really impressive, introducing a gear function into this model. It takes some reworking of the actual torso and some creative liberties, but I think it's insanely cool.
I agree. I mean, like, I prefer the less, like, bulked up version of the torso that the actual set has, but if getting this gear function, I mean, I think it's a worthwhile trade, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Would it have been realistic for the price point? Probably not, and that's why we didn't get it, but I like it a lot. It's very ingenious.
Mm-hmm.
There's another perspective I want to talk about, and I want to be very careful to do it in a way that does not incite drama, but I do want to talk about it.
Is it finally happening? Are we finally talking about all those seedy underground Bionicle cesspools that gave us so much hard time, or so many hard times? We're finally breaking.
No.
We finally outing them. Are we doing it, Meso?
No, LJ,
come on, please.
No.
Come on.
No, not
wanna
today.
Go. Listen.
No drama.
Fine.
We don't like putting people on blast for opinions on Nak and Jay. Typically, usually we only bring up someone's opinion in general if it incites an interesting conversation, because ultimately people are entitled to have their opinions, even if they're things we don't agree with. Just the last Nak and Jay, we brought up a random Twitter user with like 4 followers who said that Bionicle was good because it was edgy. Was that offensive necessarily? Is that person like wrong for thinking that? No. It was just an interesting conversation to have in terms of like the logical fallacies that it has. So I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but I do want to address a video made by fellow YouTuber Jangbricks, because it brought up some interesting points. And I'll preface by saying, we love Jang. Jang is awesome. I have not a bad word to say about Jang. So don't mistake me. I'm not like saying he's wrong for having an opinion. I just think he brought up some interesting stuff in his video that is worthy of being talked about and having a community discourse. And I think it'd be fun in the future to maybe talk with him about it. I don't know if he'd be interested, but it'd be a fun conversation, I think, because people may not know this, and he even clarifies it in his video. Jangbricks is one of the most popular LEGO reviewers on YouTube. He's one of the best in terms of production quality, and he started as a Bionicle fan. That's how he started on YouTube. He used to make mock videos. He used to talk about Bionicle content extensively, and Hero Factory for the duration of its run. And he was one of the go-to sources for that kind of content back during the day. So he has some skin in the game, you know, in terms of how Bionicle is interpreted and reflected in the modern era. So I was very curious to hear what his perspective was. And in essence, he doesn't really like this, which is fine. He said it's probably the best they could do for the budget and the constraints. So I appreciate that he's fair in that sense, but it's not really for him. And I think that's totally fine. You can have preferences and design. It's okay to have this set not be for you. The interesting thing was, in terms of how he felt about the set, I'd encourage all of you to go watch the video, because I don't want to mischaracterize his words at all. So feel free to watch it in context. It's on his channel. But he essentially said that he can't really be happy about the set existing because it feels like LEGO is just teasing the Bionicle fans. And they should know better by now. They should know what they're doing because of things like the stickers, the sticker references in Ninjago sets to Bionicle. They should know what kind of emotions stuff like this engenders in the Bionicle community. They should know what will get people foaming at the mouth over a potential G3. They should just let sleeping dogs lie. They should let Bionicles stay buried. They should stop, digging it up to tease the fans, because they already tried to reboot it before and it didn't work. It failed, and it failed probably because, in Jang's view, Bionicle fans didn't show up to support it, essentially. So the concept of Bionicle should probably just stay, stay buried, basically. And it's the take that people have echoed. People feel this way. Many people do, even in our patron chat. We have some people who've been saying similar things through the duration of our recording here. And I could not possibly disagree more, I don't think, if I tried to. It's entirely, people can view it however they want, but I think it's a fundamental mistake in equating stuff like the stickers with teasing Bionicle fans. LJ, how are the stickers like made? What is that whole process?
I mean, I don't know if that process is necessarily like well documented, so I don't necessarily want to talk on that without having
it's on an individual level, basically.
It's I think that we talked about it a little bit when I had Nick Voss on the LJ Johnson show when we talked about Ninjago City. And
that's what I'm alluding to.
Okay, all right, cool. So he went into that a bit there, and it is a collaborative effort between, because there are set designers and then there are graphic artists and the folks who make the stickers and the sticker sheets. And sometimes there are opportunities to collaborate and kind of compare notes and make suggestions from set designers and graphic artists. And from that, you can get references, depending on who the person is, references to a variety of different LEGO themes and sets. It is not something... it is not something that LEGO corporate or LEGO marketing comes down and is like, hey, you need to include our scheduled Bionicle sticker reference. You need to make sure that makes it in there. We need to hit our quota of 2 Bionicle stickers per half year. So if you would go ahead and do that, then that'd be fantastic. Also, just so you know, this gift with purchase is counting as one of our sticker quota. So we're going to have to come up with another 2 designs for the second half year. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. That's not how it works. It's definitely on a more individual, independent basis, which obviously does get overseen, but it gets overseen by other departments in LEGO. Like it's cleared by legal and stuff like that. They're making sure everything's all good and nothing can be horribly misconstrued. But it's something, and you might be like, oh, well, you're just lampshading, you're straw manning when you're like that hyperbolic example of like our arbitrary quota of Bionicle references. That's ridiculous. That's not what people like Jang are saying when they imply that. That might not be consciously what they're saying, but that is in effect what people are saying when they associate the stickers with a negative sentiment. And it's something that's gone on for years. Ever since, I think, 2017, when the first sticker reference showed up in Ninjago sets, there was a negative backlash to it for that exact reason. Oh, you just canceled Bionicle? LEGO didn't give us the Mask of Ultimate Power in G2, but they put the Mask of Ultimate Power in a sticker? So LEGO wouldn't make it a piece, but they'd make it a sticker, huh? That's just an insult. That's kicking sand in the faces of Bionicle fans everywhere who want that piece. How could they do that? But LEGO is a company, but they're full of individuals, and the individuals have different power and decision-making capabilities. The higher up who decided to can G2 and ergo not produce the Mask of Ultimate Power is not the same graphic designer who designed the Mask of Ultimate Power sticker. And they're also not the same set designer who made a set that includes the Mask of Ultimate Power sticker. To lay the blame at the feet of both parties equally is just wrong. There's no way around it. It slants the conversation in a negative light, and it frames what was intended to be a fun
wholesome referential nod as something inherently negative, as Lego teasing the fans, knowing that it will upset them, tantamount to basically trolling them in essence.
Actually,
And you could
I have a
go on.
picture of a great deal of the stickers that we've seen. This is not up to date. This picture is from, I think, at the latest 2017 or 18. Probably 2018. But here's some examples of Bionicle references in Lego sets that are on screen.
Oh man.
Again, it's not up to date. I haven't taken that photo yet. And I don't know when I'm going to. I don't have all the sets that have Bionicle references in them.
They keep coming out at a rapid pace. I think there was just a city set that had Tahu and Kopaka and a fighting game.
It's a Friends set.
Ah, it's a Friends set. There you go. Man,
Yep.
Friends is awesome, though. I love Friends.
It is. They've done a really good job. I'm excited to get that set, though.
Oh, yeah, this isn't even close to up to date. Oh, man. There's the Tahu from, like, Hidden Side. There's the Legend of Matanui, like, in the bus from Hidden Side. Oh, man.
And see, yeah, and there are so many different. Also, I just want to put this out there. Ruby in our Patreon chat said, Bionicle community, I hate to tell you this. You are not that important enough for LEGO to go out of their way to tease you. So today we're talking about set number 40581, Bionicle Tahu and Takua. You can't see me, I'm making arm motions, like, just kind of a silly...
What are you getting at?
Like,
I'm not following.
Clearly people at LEGO think that the community is important enough to reference. And make an entire set for. Sorry.
Right, but I think Ruby's going off the sense of entitlement that people have, construing everything as a negative slight.
I just think it's poor wording. But
fair enough. I get the intent.
The issue ultimately at the end of the day is that negative intent. It's what is the right word for it? It is applying negative intentions where none can otherwise be derived. It is inferring hostility, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, if I'm gonna go out of my way to make someone upset, to make a group of people upset, a group of potential future consumers upset, I'm not going to reference their favorite thing. Like, I'm not going to include a reference to the thing that they like. That's not how you irritate... I mean, clearly it's how you irritate Bionicle fans, which is stupid.
Yeah.
But that's not a normal thing that normal people do.
Now, there is a school of thought, and that's why I would be interested, like, to maybe talk to Jang at some point, because I think this is an interesting conversation. If what he's trying to say is, well, it's the Bionicles fans' fault for reacting to them being, quote-unquote, teased with hostility, then I'm more inclined to agree, because I think that they are ultimately at fault for being unnecessarily angry. And if that's going to be the reaction every time they do something, which even now with the gift of purchase, there's a large subset of people who are insanely angry, then maybe it would ultimately be best to not do anything. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's an approach I can kind of get behind. I don't necessarily blame Lego for it. And I don't think the gift with purchase is another in a long line of instances of Lego, teasing Bionicle fans. I think that the stickers are their own thing. The stickers are attempts by people who can do things to do fun references in an inoffensive way and slip them in under the radar. And people get them and they're like, that makes me happy. That is the end of it. That is the beginning and the end of it. Gift with purchase, another matter. The gift with purchase is a product. But once again, I wouldn't necessarily call a Bionicle gift purchase teasing the Bionicle community. Nor would I call a Blacktron gift purchase teasing the Blacktron community.
Yeah, like why is no one else? Why are no other communities getting upset about this? Why do we not have Blacktron fans getting upset when they included a Blacktron logo on some random minifigure's shirt in the Lego Movie Set Wave, the launch line? Why aren't people getting upset?
Was the Lego Movie 2 teasing Fabuland fans by putting Fabuland in the movie?
Okay, that might have been actually mocking them. All the Fabuland characters were like literal slave labor. So
okay, that's fair. That's fair. It may have been.
Yeah, that one. But also, it was like one of the funniest jokes from the movie because it's Fabuland.
Luke the Duke 424 says actually a lot of Castle fans were very mad that the Forestman set was a GWP. That's
okay,
fair enough.
Fair enough. That's good to know. I didn't know that.
I'm not apprised in the Castle community, so
yeah, no, that's good to know. Which again, also is kind of weird because they literally just got the largest Castle set that has ever existed. Like, I'm sorry.
We're over here like dying of thirst in the desert while they're being drowned.
Yeah, we're dying of thirst watching another group drown. It's hilarious.
Okay,
did the Forceman come out?
The Castle coming out and including Forestman majorly changed attitudes. Interesting. I mean, we're not informed on Castle stuff.
Okay, it came out before. However, the Castle had to have been announced by that point, did it not? Because like I'm looking at the dates. The Forceman hideout was from June to December, which by the way, that's crazy. And the Lion Knight's Castle was released in August. And it hasn't exited yet.
Fascinating.
Okay. All right.
Well,
fair enough. That's fair enough.
My point was basically, we'll just talk plainly. All right. Do I wish Bionicle would come back? Yes. I like Bionicle. All right. What do you want from me? I wish Bionicle would come back. I wish it would get a movie. I wish it would get a big budget animated theatrical movie and 18 different video games and 7 books and comics.
No.
I wish it had a line of 20 sets, and I wish they were all geared to me personally. Adult-centric, complicated builds. Every single one of them functions. Every single one of them 32 points of articulation and mask packs. I wish all of that would happen. That's not happening. Why is that not happening? Clearly, Lego doesn't think Bionicle would sell. Functionally, that's the reason. Why is that? We'll never really know. Do they think it won't sell because it just doesn't have mass market appeal? Do they think it won't sell because G2 failed and they're using that as their most recent market cross-section? Do they think it wouldn't sell because of the volatile and difficult to please community? Which would probably be a valid reason, to be fair, but I digress. Do they think it wouldn't sell because people would only accept it if it used the old pieces, which are too expensive to produce? Do they think it won't sell because they don't think people would like the concept of Bionicle minifigures? Or do they simply not think it would sell because Ninjago is siphoning up all of their budget for Big Bang story action themes and they can't really afford another one, which isn't true because Monkey Kid exists? I don't know, and we never will know, but someone somewhere, probably multiple people in the corporate structure hierarchy of Lego clearly don't think that Bionicle is viable. They don't think it's profitable. They don't think it would make money, or they don't think it would make Ninjago money. Does that mean it is wrong then for Lego to do anything with Bionicle? It's a genuine question. I would encourage people to answer it. There's no right or wrong answer. This is your own opinion. Is it wrong for them to do references? Is it wrong for them to do a GWP? Is it wrong for, I guess those are really the only 2 points we have to cross section. Would it be wrong for them to make a Bionicle ideas set if they had no interest in actually making Bionicle as a line? Would that be considered teasing the Bionicle community? By the same metric, I would think it would be. And it could be constrained, considered as a negative thing. I don't know. I don't think so. But that's because, in my mind, the two do not conflict with each other. I can be disappointed that Bionicle isn't being sold, but I can also be happy with this GWP that we get and on its own merits think it's cool. Same with the stickers. The existence of these things is not, for me, a constant slap in the face reminder that Bionicle is not on shelves. Clearly, for some people, it is. And that's interesting. It's interesting to explore. I don't know.
It's weird to me. To me, it is such an entitled opinion and standpoint that somehow we are owed Bionicle in a specific fashion, in a specific way. I think that something else that, and Luke the Duke in our patron chat's touching on this, said the very nature of it being a gift with purchase is very negative to me, not because it's an insult to Bionicle fans, but more because it's just malicious business practice in almost all examples, not just in LEGO. And I disagree, but it seems I've been doing a lot of that. I think it's a very smart business decision, and I think it's good for Bionicle fans. And this is going to be the hottest take I have today, because
oh boy, I might disagree with this.
Bionicle fans have a very hard time moving into other things. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to diversify your interests. It just makes you happier. That's
it was a lesson we learned the hard way. We used to be all into Bionicle, and then it got taken away from us, and we were like, oh, we'd like to have other things.
This being a gift with purchase, I think it is a good thing, because this opens up the opportunity to explore new things. Because when you go and you buy the $100 worth of LEGO, you're not just paying $100 for this one set. You are paying $100 for $100 worth of LEGO plus this. Ninjago, Monkey Kid, Friends, Friends just got this whole new wave. City is cracking off. And yeah, sure, I know $100 is a steep cost. I get that. I agree.
I agree too.
But if you are a Bionicle fan, if you're part of the demographic that this is aimed toward, you're an adult, you should have, and you're still in this hobby. Like, Bionicle fans often jut into other expensive hobbies. This is aimed at money-making adults. This is not aimed at a young, not money-having audience. So I do agree, it's a lot of money. But the cross-sections of hobbies that Bionicle fans get into, model making, or gaming, or stuff like that, I'm just saying, this was smart. This made a lot of sense. And when you buy $100 of LEGO, if you're careful with it, you're getting a lot of really cool things. You're getting a Ninjago mech. You're getting a Monkey Kid mech. You're getting 2 different Monkey Kid sets that combine. You're getting a stunts set. You broaden your horizons. Luke, I don't know what you want. Yes, LEGO's a company. They make money. We are consumers. Surprise. This has always been how it's been. I don't know what to tell you.
I would say I do think there is an interesting conversation to be had, And quite frankly, it's a little above our pay grade as just random toy channel podcasters. There is a discussion to be had about the very nature of corporations and like what toes the line between anti-consumer practices and just companies trying to make money. And I think that for me, everybody draws their own line. For me personally, I think the line tips when it becomes exploitative, or when like a better option is not employed. So like, what do I mean? Let's look as an analogy of video games. All right, let's look at the concept of microtransactions. So we have two options. We have loot boxes. We have the items with three options: loot boxes, an item store, and no microtransactions at all. Obviously, I think all of us who play video games would prefer a world where microtransactions just didn't exist, where you could play a game and you could earn whatever you want in the game and you don't have to spend any money at all. There are many people who say that microtransactions are inherently anti-consumer because they are charging consumers for things that in the past would simply be available for free. If that's where you draw the line, that's where you draw the line. And that's where the conversation ends, because that is your personal preference. If you go past that and you're like, well, the concept of microtransactions isn't necessarily anti-consumer, it depends on how they're handled. Well, then you have to be like, what defines the handling? Is it unethical to do loot boxes? Is it unethical to sell items in an item store? Are both unethical? Are both anti-consumer? And then you get into that discussion. Where is your scale? For me, on my scale, I prefer an item store, because at that point, people have the choice as to what they want to spend their money on, versus loot boxes, which are inherently random. They encourage gambling, and you don't know what you're going to spend your money on. There's scales and there's layers to these things. Okay? From a Lego perspective, is it wrong or anti-consumer to not release a Bionicle set? I don't think so. It might suck for us, but at the end of the day, they are a company. They're not a philanthropy organization. They're not a charity. Their goal is to make money. So at that point, you just have to look at the scenario on a case-by-case basis, just like with the analogy about microtransactions. Could it be handled worse? Could it be handled better? If a set isn't an option because they're not obligated to make it and they don't think it will sell, they don't think it will be profitable, ergo they can't make it, but they still want to get a Bionicle set out into the market, maybe to be nice, maybe to, I don't know, boost PR and get some positive metrics. I don't know. Whatever reason the corporation would do the thing they do. Well, could it be handled better or worse? It's $100. Could it be handled worse? Yes, we've seen an example. 190 Blacktron set. A $400, gift of purchase. I forget which one that was, but it was alluded to just a little bit ago. The one that was $400.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Somebody mentioned it in their patron chat, but I'm not sure which exactly the expensive GWP was. But there are examples of it being much, much, much worse. And I would argue, on the sliding scale, this is the best option. Does it suck? Yeah, it does suck. I'm not going to say otherwise. I would pay $17 for this set. Easy. If this was on shelves, I'd probably buy 10 of them. If that can't happen, this is literally the next best thing. It's transparent. People have the choice as to what they want to do. Like Sakota said, if you're really that desperate, that infuriated, you could just sell the sets you buy. There's no rule saying you can't do that. When they're in your possession, you do whatever you want to do with them. You have to weigh and balance the approach, basically. It's a complex situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's as complex because, yeah, I think that no matter how do I word this?
Oh, so Koda said it was the Houses of the World GWP. It was 400 Australian, but it was 250 USD.
Yeah, and apparently there are like 4 of them, and to get all of them, it's gonna cost over like $1,000.
Oh my god!
And that's for these are for sets that don't have new recolors, exclusive pieces. Like they're just designs, and I don't know if that's I don't know if that's fair. This is something very different. You know, we are getting new things with this. I think that there is a value in discussing these things as consumers, as the people that are going to be buying this set. And I think that we live in such an interesting age where we have the ability to recreate the set just on our own. You know, there are no new recolors to this. There are 2 new prints, which will definitely end up on the secondhand market. And even if they didn't, you can probably just print them off yourself.
True.
And you can bricklink all these pieces, or you can go to Lego's website, and you can pick a brick them, and you can recreate the set on your own. So what are you really paying for at that point? Instructions and a box. And the instructions are digitized in the box. What are you going to do with the box? Are you going to keep the box? Are you going to throw away the box? I don't know. We live in an age where the accessibility of Lego products is at an all-time high. It is not impossible to get a hold of this set if you really want it.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not... And I think that it's a bit of a stretch to say... I don't think that this is anti-consumer. I don't think that it makes sense for this to be a retail set. I think the only way this set makes sense is to be a gift with purchase, because it is for adult fans who at this point should probably be working and generating an income or having an income. Would it be neat if everything was free and you could just trade this or just get it? I mean, sure, but that's not how this works. This is a product released by a company, and you are purchasing an experience from that company, and you're getting a product. And I think Lego is doing a very smart thing for them, and I think it is a smart thing for Bionicle fans who, generally speaking, have a hard time moving on from Bionicle. You are not only introducing Bionicle in a new system way, in a way that better represents what Lego's catalog is now, you are doing something interesting that generates a lot of valuable discussion. You are also saying, hey, in order to get this thing that is in reference to something that you grew up with, explore these other things.
What would you say makes this set not a good fit to be sold? I'm curious.
Just the very nature of it, that it's a Bionicle set.
I mean, Tahu was fine to be sold in 2001.
I'm not saying that it's an issue of what it is. I'm saying it's an issue of its name recognition, its market value. And I don't think that the Bionicle name has as much staying power as it did. Back in 2001, obviously, it's a very different situation. The market was different. And what people were interested in was different. And I think this is a great set. Do not get me wrong. But I understand why Lego would not sell this at retail in the way it exists. Like, Takua would be his own thing. Tahu would be his own thing. It would be in a wave. As a standalone Bionicle set, nowadays, the people that are going to be most interested in this are us, high-affinity fans of Bionicle that are older.
True.
I feel like
I
a
agree.
lot of people just haven't come to the realization yet. Folks, Bionicle is a classic theme now. This is not a modern
old.
theme. Bionicle is an old theme. It is 22 years old.
Oh God, that hurts to hear. Stop saying that. Don't say it, Eldrin.
A lot of people are saying this would be great to be retail. I would buy this at retail. Totally understand. I totally agree. It would be great to just buy it at retail, right? But we're always going to feel about that. We're always going to feel that way because it's all about money, right? Like, we of course want to pay less for things. Obviously.
We want to pay less. Lego wants to make money.
It has to. Let
me counter this ideology, not your ideology, but this ideology of the GWP being bad, with a post from the YouTube chat. But first, let me read the super chat from Corey B, Australian, $5. Greetings from Australia. Personally, I can feel the love poured into the GWP, such as Takua being the version from Minogue and including the Amaja Nui. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I agree. The comment here from the YouTube chat says, let's see. Bionicle forever. There was nothing preventing them from selling them separately as well. They shouldn't have GWP schemes to boost their lack of sales from current existing sets on shelves. I am aware of the fact that GWPs are unpopular. So I'm not going to say that's a crazy point. Even system fans don't really like the concept of having to pay an extraordinary amount of money for GWPs. And that's just for regular themes, not even revival themes.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I don't think that's insane. But I would challenge that perspective when it comes to Bionicle. We as Bionicle fans have the viewpoint of this is a scheme to boost sales because they know people are going to want to buy Bionicle. They know that Bionicle is white hot popular and loved and has a devoted fan base. So of course they're going to use the name of Bionicle to move their garbage Ninjago and Monkey Kid themes that totally don't sell. And they need Bionicle to make them sell because they're not selling regardless. We as fans were predisposed to think that way. Maybe not to that hyperbolic degree, but because we like Bionicle.
The way you put that kind of kills me. It just makes me
realize. Right?
It makes me realize how unfathomably entitled people are being. Like,
right.
Like,
and I'm even included in that. I don't necessarily think that way, but I have an inflated sense of Bionicle's worth because I'm in the community. I love the thing.
No,
I feel that it's cool. I feel that it's a good idea. It's a good concept. It saved Lego. You and I have said that before. Bionicle deserves respect, etc., etc. But functionally, realistically, I can't guarantee this. I could be wrong. I would bet money that Lego thinks the exact opposite of that view. They're not making Bionicle the GWP to push their products that supposedly don't sell as an anti-consumer scheme. They're making Bionicle a GWP because they don't think it would sell otherwise.
And
they don't think anyone wants to buy it.
That was kind of my point. Like, that's why I don't think that this would exist as a retail product. I don't think that's a good idea because Lego definitely doesn't think that's a good idea. If they did, this would be a retail set.
And I don't even know if that's right or not. We don't have the metrics to say whether that's right or not. Of course we don't. As a Bionicle fan, I would love to think it's not right.
But that's the thing, though. Like, Lego isn't a dumb company. Ryan, stop. Yes, I know. Star Wars, yes. No, I'm kidding. My point is, they do so much analytical research and like market research. Like a lot of money goes into market research. Like they're not ignorant as to what the market is saying sometimes. They make mistakes. They obviously are too late to trends. And I feel like we saw that with video, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that when at the end of the day, like they have all the sales metrics for Bionicle. We hear all the cool stuff, right? We hear that Bionicle sold enough sets to match the population of like 3 European countries combined. You know, we know it made so many millions of dollars. We know it financially anchored LEGO during turbulent times. And we like these things.
We live in the fan community on the daily, and we see the fervor that people like go about it in the modern era. We know people still care, you know?
Exactly. It's like, I get all these things. We know that it's popular. We know it's been super influential. We know. We know. But the things we aren't seeing, how much money did it take to make all those pieces? How much did it take to market all these things? How shaky did it make relationships between LEGO and consumers, considering Bionicle was subject to 2 different lawsuits? You know, how much did they really make off of it? You know, how much did they sacrifice to make Bionicle in the way that it did? We know Bionicle got canceled because at the end of the day, it wasn't sustainable. You know, there is a lot of money that goes into the molds. Like a lot of money. And Bionicle was all new molds. Sometimes we would get 30 new molds a half year.
It was pretty insane.
It just... Yeah, there's a...
I just think it's interesting how there's such a disparate view of what this is. People are like, Lego wants people to spend $100 and they're using Bionicle to do it, versus what I think the actual case is, which is Lego they wanted to do something. Maybe it's a result of the 90th poll. Maybe it's because they feel bad that Bionicle fans cry all the time. Maybe they're sick of people spamming their mentions and flooding their like Twitter polls and stuff.
Like they know there is an interest in Bionicle. They are acutely aware. We've done a very good job of making them aware. Trust me. Like,
yeah,
I've seen their Twitter responses whenever Bionicle is mentioned. They know, but they also know.
I could be wrong.
They also know that within the last 10 years, Bionicle got canceled a year and a half after it launched.
Yeah.
They've done enough research to know that this is aimed at the old audience, and that is why it's a gift with purchase, because there's a lot of money that goes into making these that obviously they're trying to make back. And I get it. I know it's a capitalist thing, and it's a corporation and all that. I understand. I get it. We cannot get over the fact that at the end of the day, we are here. And the reason we're discussing this is because we are participating. We are already a part of this. This is our hobby. We have already checked the box, saying, yes, I agree to the terms. I agree to this arrangement, you know? And so while, like, we can apply that to anything, I feel like there are more important things to apply that to, because at this point, we are paying for the experience. We are paying for getting to build this. We're paying for the feeling that you get when you get a new Bionicle set in your hands and you're just friggin' so full of energy. But there are just so many other things worth considering and keeping in mind that I understand why people don't, you know? And that's why I've been saying, like, I don't think this is predatory. And I'm very, very... Meso, you know me. I'm on the ball when it comes to calling out predatory business practices.
True.
You know, Bungie can lick the soles of my shoes. Disgusting predatory practices. Microsoft and Halo, disgusting. And yes, LEGO has made poor monetary decisions. I feel that they do have there are aspects of their practices that should rightfully be called out. And I agree that we are even seeing them now. Of course you will, Zach, you soul sucker. But the thing is, like, yes, call out the fact that they're trying to get you to complete a collection of Houses of the World for $1,000 when those sets aren't including new recolors or new pieces or new prints or new stickers. They are designs that you can very well easily see as being those LEGO Store month builds, you know?
Yeah, no.
It's all plastic killing me.
LJ on blast. Maggots too.
My point is, there is no blanketing things anymore. The world is too complex, and there are too many things to just consider at this point and think about when it comes to these things, and it sucks, and it takes up so much energy. I'm tired. But
and ultimately, like, we don't know concretely either. All right, so I don't want to think like, oh, we're being like mean to anyone in particular. We're not all knowing, you know. We're just guessing, but I do think the evidence points one way very strongly over another way.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Now, I think there are instances where market research could be wrong and where they could get the wrong idea because they're misreading the data. And that's the interesting thing about data is not black and white. Data can then be interpreted. And I think that's an interesting conversation to have when you point to G2, because that was another component to Jang's video, was talking about why G2 failed. And that's a conversation we've had in the past. And quite frankly, it's a conversation we could have in the future. I think we've learned some new information since we recorded that last Mac and Jay, which was basically just a recap of our LJ Johnson show discussion on G2.
Yeah.
So we've learned some new information, but quite frankly, that's a little bit too hefty to get into. We've already been doing this for 2.5 hours. So I think when it comes to the concept of Bionicle's profitability in the modern era, just, I guess a good way to put it is, just because I think LEGO thinks it wouldn't be profitable doesn't mean I think they're right. So don't mistake me in that.
And I think that is a very fair point to make.
I think LEGO sabotaged G2 more or less intentionally to funnel money towards other things. And I think they created the self-fulfilling prophecy that would then be justified to say that Bionicle doesn't sell in the modern era. But even if that's right, that doesn't change anything fundamentally.
Yeah.
If LEGO doesn't think it's not profitable, they're not going to make sets based off of it. And we just kind of have to deal with that. We either pack it up and move on, or we are grateful for what we get, or we're not grateful for it and we criticize it, but we let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. You know, there's nuance, like Eldge said. We don't live in a black and white world.
Yeah, pretty much. And
I'd like to have that conversation in the future. We're going to get a lot of mileage out of this GWP. There's so many topics we're going to talk about, and we're going to bring on like guests, and we're going to talk about things. It's good.
To round the discussion back to what started this with Jangbricks, because I never really talked about my thoughts on what he said. Full disclosure, sure. I have not yet seen the video. I want to. I have an immense respect for Jangbricks. I've been a fan of his for years. I need to check if he we messaged him about something, and I need to check if he responded. I don't know. I think he did, and Twitter did not tell me about it. Which
he's so cool.
I need to respond to him if he did. That being said, yeah, I 100% disagree with his take. And I feel like it surprises me too, because Jang, he thinks very critically about things. He generally has a very nuanced take on a lot of different things, and that's one of the reasons I really appreciate his insights. And I definitely agree that he hit the mark on this. Or sorry, he missed the mark on this. I feel like for some reason he is attributing a lot of malice where I don't think it's reasonable to attribute it.
I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, he made it very clear he's a fan just like anybody else, and he was right there with us with G2. You know, he was doing his own content, he was making his own videos, he invested, and he was burned just like anybody else. So
Yeah.
I can't really blame anyone for being disappointed at the way things have shaken out. There were just parts about it, like knowing what we know about the sticker references, I think they're harmless and well-meaning.
Yeah. And I don't think that Lego teasing Bionicle fans is a bad thing, and I don't think that we are owed an entire launch of Bionicle sets. I disagree with Meso. I don't want Bionicle back.
Bruh, that'd be so
take.
cool, dude.
This is another
so cool.
another one. I'm good. And I don't mean that as in I wouldn't be happy if it comes back. You know? Obviously, I would be ecstatic. I'd be so thrilled because I'm a Bionicle fan. Like, I grew up with it. You saw how I was when I opened that box and I saw that set in my hands.
If given the choice, I'd want a new theme.
But that's my thing, though. Like, I have the Bionicle I want. I grew up with it. I had all those memories. I have all the sets now. If I want to go back to the Bionicle I have it. I want to see something new. I want to see the progression of things. If Bionicle comes back, I want to see them do something cool. I want to see them do something modern and new. That's what excites me about this gift with purchase. I want to see what the next step is, what the next evolution of whatever is under the Bionicle name is. That's what I'm excited about now. And if I want to see a new theme too, like, these things excite me. I'm interested in these things. I want to get further involved in these things. You know, and that's why I'm fine if Bionicle doesn't come back. I don't want it back in the sense, like, I'm going to keep pushing for Bionicle to come back. If Bionicle comes back, I don't want to just be a consumer. I want to be involved in it. I want to be making it.
Respectable. Super someone, I want to see a continuation of the G1 story, not a reboot. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no.
As someone who agrees, I'm so sorry.
I'm good.
That's never gonna happen. I wish it would, though.
I'm all good.
I want to see. All right. That's about it. There's another super chat from Delrun Plays, $5. Thank you for all these. You're very kind. If Star Wars sets counted towards getting this, you could get 10 just by accident.
Yeah.
Would you like to round this out with 3 Q&A questions from patron chat and YouTube?
Sure.
Okay.
I do want to just say, I apologize to anyone that feels like I'm trying to disparage them for not having the money to pay for this, or that feels it's unfair to them for monetary reasons. I don't want to sound classist. You know, I'm not trying.
I was very excited for the classist LJ arc.
And I'm sure like the Bionicle subreddit Discord's gonna flip out and let them. But the point I'm just trying to make is I'm trying to make the argument that there's more to this, and that the rationale behind this isn't as cut and dry as we would like it to be, because it's a complex and nuanced situation that has a lot of layers to it. And I want everyone to be considering as much of that as possible, as many of these things as possible, to have informed conversation, to have interesting conversation about this, instead of just Wayfair blaming people for things, you know. And if you
I agree.
can't afford something you want, you know, I feel you. I understand. I've been there before. I get it. And I don't want to make you feel bad for that. You know, that is oftentimes something not in your control. And
True.
Lego is a
Very
hobby. Right. It is something that we like. It is a what is the word for it? Something you don't need.
Luxury.
Luxury. Thank you. It's a luxury. And
yeah,
you know, I just don't feel bad about that, and I apologize if I came off that way. That is not my intention.
Based. Good apology. I don't think you came off that way, but
fair enough.
People could always extrapolate.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to hedge off. That's really it. I'm not I don't think I came off that way, but I'm just trying to hedge off the people that are going to try and distort my words or the meaning behind them. Like,
no, I get you.
Like the Bionicle subreddit folks. The Discord server folks. So
I get you. No, that's absolutely true. Okay, so we'll do 3 questions from the YouTube chat, and we'll do 3 questions from the patron chat. So first of all, in the YouTube chat, we have the same question being asked by multiple people, namely Sharnak. Nice to see you, by the way. Thank you for listening tonight. And Bionic Punk, who are asking if we will discuss the prototype designs. We will. Not today. We're gonna talk that, I think, unless you want to say anything on them.
No, I don't. But we've actually already talked about these over on.
Yes, I was good.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you finish.
No, just say it.
Okay, over on Duckbricks, and I'll link the video.
Yeah, I was just gonna bridge into that. So we had a great minds think alike moment. Okay. We were asked to be on Duckbricks' channel, and we were in a video of his where we told the same story we told at the beginning of this about like our history with the leak and whatnot. But then we also got into an extensive discussion about the prototype designs over there. So go check that out. It's a good time. It's a good talk. We will probably talk about them again in the future, especially if we have guests on to talk about them. Because I would like to get people's takes on them, because that's really where a lot of the conversation goes into. Well, how would Bionicle work as a hypothetical reboot? Because that Takanuva is making waves. I'm very surprised by how many people are positively inclined to that Takanuva. I'm very surprised. A lot of people I've seen have been like, this is it. This is the way to do it. And I've shown the model to people I know who are like skeptical of the gift of purchase. And they're like, oh, this would be perfect. This would be awesome. And I'm like, really?
I'm going to be honest. I am also surprised. It didn't tickle my fancy at all, but yeah, if it's that popular, I'm happy. I'm glad.
I liked it more than you did, but even I thought it was a little janky and unfinished. I'm surprised that it's cut on as much as it has, but people seem to be resonating with it. I think because it's more traditional and it uses like regular sized sockets. So I think it's more appealing to people immediately as just being like a slightly different take on Bionicle, as well as the fact that it has like gears, you know, even if I don't know if they work or not, but it kind of looks more in keeping. People have already fully reverse engineered it and they have instructions for it and everything. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, we'll be talking about that more in the future, just not today. But it is a very interesting talk. And go check out Duckbricks. Another question from Sir Lojan on our patron chat. Would you ever be up to doing another version of your What is Bionicle to You discussion? Because there was one angle in that episode that was never really discussed. The Bionicle is a setting, a sandbox universe, if you will, as was HF, which most modern LEGO themes do not do often. It's an angle I rarely see discussed much, especially when recommending other themes or distilling Bionicle's identity. So, I don't know too much if we would necessarily reprise that exact discussion. but we are going to be having discussions about, Bionicle's viability in the future and what shape it could take. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's the nature of having such a big open world where anything could happen, and there's like 18 different islands and 27 different species at play. I think that is definitely a strength in its favor. I don't know. Maybe we could do a reprisal of that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose
it's kind of something that you've highlighted before, LJ. Not using those words exactly, but it's kind of similar to what you were always talking about when you were talking about like the hierarchy of the set design. How you have these characters that have these roles and they can enact scenarios, and they have these roles in the universe they're in, and it makes it feel lived in and alive.
Yeah, it's the I know what you're talking about. It's I forget the exact words I used at this point because it's been a while, but I've talked about it multiple times, specifically with 2001 and 2009, in how there is a visual hierarchy. The design of characters already tells a story, and the fact you have Matoran, Turaga, and Toa, you already have these tribes, and you have that structural food chain, essentially.
There you go. We will I'll try to incorporate that because I feel like I agree with you. I agree that it's that's definitely a strength of Bionicle. Like, people have asked me before, like, who's your favorite Bionicle character? I don't have one. I have a favorite Bionicle aspect, and it's the world. The world is the main character, in my opinion.
Real quick, one of our YouTube chat commenters, Vinny Nipa, says, by the way, did anyone else notice this set has a piece in a new color, the gray brick in Takua's head? My understanding is that there are no recolors in this.
That would be interesting.
I don't think it has any.
Bionic Punk. This set has a lot of new recolors, so system fans don't reject it outright.
We found all these pieces on Bricklink.
Yeah, that is true. Unless I'm like crazy here. Maybe there's similar shades. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Starbreaker, who's been exceptionally involved, says there are none. It's two pieces put together. All exist.
Okay. All right, good. That's what I thought. Also, Luke, don't make that comparison.
No.
Don't do me dirty like that.
All right. Starbreaker also asked, hey, Meso, do you want to see Solek in the GWP style? No, but I want to see Zach dead. No, I'm kidding.
Here's Zach's corpse in the GWP style.
It's so epic. I love you, buddy. You're cool. Super someone. Wait, what, LJ? What were you saying?
No, our commenter is very is claiming that this is
very adamant.
Recolor. I looked this part up, but I found all the pieces in these colors on Bricklink. I made a parts list for Zach.
That would be interesting.
Oh, they're saying that it's part number 52107. No, that's not the part. That's not what it is. Yeah, so no, it's not that part. It's two bricks that come up with the appearance, the functionality of 52107, but that is not what it is. So, okay, we can continue. Go ahead, Meso.
Well, there you go. Another comment from Super Someone in the patron chat. What are your thoughts on new part production using 3D printers? We love it. We absolutely love it. I don't think LJ consumes it too much because you're more into purism.
It's not even just that. It's just that I don't do a whole lot of mocking as it stands. I do have some 3D printed pieces, like the Canon G1 Mask of Creation. I have, I think, something else. I am a huge fan of the 3D printed community. I do want to get more things from it. When the Canon contests are going on in all the different communities where I'm going to say this loosely, trying to help with the rule set. We fought vehemently on 3D printed pieces. It was the main disagreement, and we fought for 3D printed parts. And then I'll be honest, the two, yeah, well, I won't say that.
It's an ironic situation because in trying to advocate for 3D printed pieces, I feel that we inadvertently got a lot of the 3D printed community pissed off at us
somehow,
which was very distressing to me personally, and still is, because somehow like it got conflated at some point down the line that like we either don't like 3D printed pieces, or more accurately, that the contests are like a nuisance to them in some ways. You know, the big one we always used to name drop and talk about was RSG, because they were our main source of like disagreement. But it wasn't just them, especially even nowadays. A lot of prominent 3D printed people who I have a degree of respect for their work have been very open about the fact that they like don't like us. They think we're like bad for the community, or think the Canon contests were like destructive. And I'm like, that sucks, because one of the reasons that I was so in favor of the Canon contests and wanted to include 3D printed parts in them is because they're such a big part of how the Bionicle community today functions. And I felt that they didn't really exist in the same way back when the old Canon contests were going on.
Yeah.
And I felt like giving people the opportunity to design masks to become a part of Bionicle's story, and then enable people to have a degree of new pieces. You know, when they're going to make the Canon contest models, it feels more special if they have unique weapons or masks. It feels like you're getting actual new sets. Like, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's one of the ways that people are able to make Bionicle in the modern era without needing to be so hyper reliant on Lego and feeling validated by whether Lego is putting products on shelves or not. It's just a cool thing to do, and I didn't feel it would be. I mean, that was one of the reasons I even wanted to do the Canon contests, because it was like, oh, it'd be cool to do these with 3D printed parts.
Yeah,
didn't work out that way. Well, it kind of did. The results worked out that way. I think people are very happy with the models and the fact that they used 3D printed parts. I think people like it better than if they just had existing masks.
Yeah, like our
I just wish
wasn't gonna be doable.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wish that there wasn't so much hostility to this day, but there's nothing to be done about it anymore.
Yeah, no, and I don't think they're ever going to see this. Sharnak in the YouTube live chat was like, I'm proud of LJ's character arc of not calling out the Discord server by name, and then later calling them out by name.
Dude, it's epic. I love it.
I want to... We're running out of time. I got to get going really soon here. My point in doing that is I want to be careful about punching down. Like, I really want to be careful about that. The Discord Reddit server was a constant source of toxicity and ire, and they're big enough that it isn't, to me, a matter of punching down. You know, I want to call them out on their bad behavior. I haven't actually been there in a while. I just know that they're still very immature, and some of their members, I'll clarify, some of their members are still very immature and very upset about the whole Canon contest thing. But they also made things very mentally difficult for Meso and I. So I don't have and they don't have any interest in apologizing for that, or realizing the damage they did. You're right. It's just the kind of thing where I avoid that community, that part of the community. I feel like it's very mentally detrimental to be a part of it, and if they turn that around, fantastic. But sometimes you need to be told that your own behaviors are not good to realize that you need to correct them. I have been there multiple times before.
Very well spoken. A+. You do have to get going, and we're not getting any questions on the YouTube side of things, so I'll cut the tally short, and I'll do one more question from the patron chat, and that'll be the last one we take. And that is from Luke the Duke, who asks, if a competitor brand could remake old Bionicle parts with the same level of quality as Lego, what would your opinion be on the Bionicle community using said parts?
Don't care.
It's
I don't
not
care.
our place to dictate that.
Yeah, they are welcome to do with what they want with what they buy. It's not ours to say. I mean, fudge.
I mean, already I own parts that are bootleg CCBS parts, and like, okay, does that make me a heretical fan? Some people maybe.
Also, what are fan-made models? Fan-made 3D printed pieces.
True.
You know, are those not also technically, I mean, they're not branded, but are they not knockoff parts?
It's a good point.
And we love the 3D printed community, even though they... Can someone show that little clip where Meso and I were talking about the 3D printed community? You know, can someone show that to them? I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but it's like...
I mean, I know it's not everybody, but like it's a few big names.
Oh, yeah,
that have been, like, very derisive.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. It's not our place to wage the ideological war of purism. You do what you want to do, even if the parts aren't of the same quality. If they look good and you want to use them, use them. Plenty of people use articulated hands that are found through bootlegs. Many people do. And that's ultimately your call. If you're not the kind of person who wants to use it, don't use it. I would never deign to tell anyone how to use their property in whatever way they would want to use it in their own creative expression. I mean, the very nature of mocking is just making quote-unquote sculptures, quote-unquote, out of someone else's materials, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I got. I don't really have a strong opinion either way, but I do own 3D printed pieces, so I guess technically I do.
Yeah.
So if plastic, as didn't the Canon contests allow bootleg pieces identical in shape to official ones? I think so. I'm pretty sure. It's been a long time and we've forgotten some of our rules, thankfully. I want to forget more of them. I want to just let all of that deliberation leave my brain.
Yeah. I could look it up, but I don't.
I don't care.
It's not
I'm
worth
not gonna
it.
look it up. But if you're right, and I think you are, good memory. A+.
Yeah.
That's basically all we got for today. LJ's got to get ready for work. So we are going to end this episode of Knack and Jay. But like I said, there's a lot more to talk about. I'm sure we would love to discuss more community reaction. We could get some guests on, get their perspective, talk about the hypothetical future, you know, what Bionicle could look like in this style. Should Bionicle be in this style? Yada, 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 yada. It's a good time to be a fan, unless you think this is heresy, in which case, I'm sorry. But for now, we're going to get going. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for posting your thoughts. And please leave your thoughts in the comments section below or on the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. LJ, you can go ahead and cue the music.
All right, cute.
All right. Once again, thank you. I'm Meso.
I'm LJ.
And streaming to you from a golden beach, this was Knack and Jay.